All right, we're good. I don't even know what episode we're on, Curtis.
That's 31, isn't it?
Oh, because we're 30.
30 was the big New Year's special. Big 3-0.
This is our first podcast of 2021.
Who's odds? Who's even? I swear I ask this question
now.
every time.
We don't know anymore.
You just be odd then. You start.
All right, we'll start the new year with a new format of who intros the podcast.
That's correct.
Welcome, everyone, to episode number 31 of the Broken by Concept podcast, the first episode of 2021, which is going to be the greatest year on planet Earth.
You know what?
Any comments on that one, Curtis?
You know, like, I had this conversation the other day.
Oh, wow.
You know, everyone's like, thank God 2020 is over.
Yes.
You know, we had this shocking year, all this bad stuff happened. I actually think that things are going to get worse.
Now, I think maybe it's just going to get worse.
This is just a snowball. This is the start of the snowball.
Like maybe the 2020s is just the end.
Shocking. Well, I just think that we have to just be adaptable. And this is what, I think League is great at doing as well, is that you just got to be adaptable. I mean, you just can't have a very fixed way of looking at something. Like the way we did things in 2010, which is only 10 years ago, it's so different, right? I don't know. I just think that shit's gonna hit the fan again. And look, I might be completely wrong, and I might just be being pessimistic right now.
Pessimistic, Curtis.
But I would rather have this view rather than think, it's all gonna be sunshine and rainbows, because I'm gonna be prepared.
Yeah, but you'll be happier that way.
Yeah, I'll be happier this way.
You can have blissful ignorance.
I mean, my way or the other way?
No, the other way.
No, I don't think so, because you get caught off guard.
Got it.
And then
it's going to bite you on the ass eventually.
Well, my theory is that COVID's not going away, and we're just going to be with it for another whole year. We're probably going to stay in lockdown for another year or something.
Yeah, potentially.
It's just
everyone said January 1st, it's all gone.
Yeah.
No more COVID.
It's going to be shocking.
The world's all back to normal. Everyone's traveling. Oh, where are you going next month? Oh, you're going to Paris, to Italy, France? Where are you going?
No one's traveling, man.
All right, anyway, so let's move on to what this episode is going to be about. So this episode, everyone, is going to be the ultimate guide to Season 11 ranked climbing. So this is going to be a podcast where you're going to listen to 3 to 4 times throughout the season. Actually, maybe 10 times, okay? When you're getting off track, you're going to refer back to this. This is the goal of the podcast. And if you don't climb in Season 11... it's on us. We have to take responsibility for this podcast. This is how important this one podcast is.
Okay.
Got
it's a lot of pressure, man.
It's so much pressure. I'm going to crack under the pressure any moment here, okay?
Yeah.
So this is going to be the episode.
All right.
How can we, let's say we need a question, right?
Okay.
How can we make the best out of Season 11? We have an opportunity to be a fresh start. 4 days. No, when this podcast releases, 3 days, right? January 8th is when the Season 11 starts.
Okay.
January 8th, we got a fresh start. Let's go over all the scenarios, all the things that can go wrong, all the things that can go well. How's that sound?
Yep. And I think we need to preface this entire video with saying that we're only doing one episode a week now.
Oh, yeah. That's a new announcement. So we're doing one episode a week because we feel like Okay, so the reason we did 2 episodes a week was because we felt like we wanted to get the podcast off the ground and just be able to just share our thoughts and all that sort of stuff.
Just want to get it rolling, get the ball rolling.
And then we initially planned to do 1 episode a week, but then I said no, let's do 2 for the first couple of months.
Just get 20, 30 episodes
some
under
episodes
our belt.
Learn how to talk in a podcast format.
Just actually get it recognized as a podcast.
Yeah.
Then we can go back to 1 a week, because it is a lot. 2 weeks.
We feel like we'll burn ourselves out if we do 2 a week for 10 years.
Yeah, and it's just...
I
would rather have 1 higher quality episode a week rather than 2, average ones. So we'll just make sure that each episode is just exceptional.
So to hit 1,000 episodes now is going to take us about 18 years, 19 years.
I reckon we could do it.
I reckon. So we'll be 40 years old, Curtis.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Imagine going back. That's cool, dude.
40 years old doing. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. We will have grey beards and stuff by then. No, maybe not.
Wait, what are you talking about?
What? It's going to take... Yeah, think about it.
18?
There's 50 weeks in a year.
Oh, wow. You're right. Holy shit.
Can you believe 18, 19 years, Curtis?
That's insane. Okay.
So we're really... we said this podcast is going to take 10 years. Yeah. Now we've just doubled it with one decision,
So I want to start by saying...
What were
something
yours?
with Season 11.
Okay.
Now, I think that solo queue at the beginning of the season is... Okay, I don't want to glorify the start of something. You've always been good. You do this, Nathan.
What do I do?
This is what I disagree with you.
Yeah.
You're just a fresh start person.
I love fresh starts.
And it's just all bullshit to me.
New year, new me.
Yeah,
and
it's bullshit. You always do
let's
this.
just start from scratch again.
You always want to just like, nah,
That didn't work. Start from scratch
you always
again.
was like, all right, the next month, 2 months, I'm just going to write it off
That's
and then
right.
just start again at this time.
Yeah.
And it's never made sense to me.
No, it actually doesn't.
It's all in your head.
So why doesn't it make sense?
Because
so
you can start whenever.
You're always in the thick of it.
Yeah,
Is
you're
that it?
always just. I mean, it's not like you're only playing League for the next year. Then that's it. Like you're probably play League for the next 10 years.
That's true.
More potentially, and you just think that randomly on this date, like finally I can try, or finally I can actually set learning objectives. That's why I don't even believe in New Year's resolutions.
That's what I said to you before. I said this is the first season I'm properly playing again.
Here's what he said to me. We're walking to the gym today, and he said to me, we're walking like halfway, and he's like, Curtis, this is the first proper, like my first proper rank season since season 5. You've been playing solo queue for the last 2 years now.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
What are you talking about,
It's
man?
like, it doesn't even... It's like, it's not like my habits randomly have changed. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. So I want to play devil's advocate here in a way.
The start of the season, yeah.
How this first few months doesn't mean shit. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. Because at the end of the day, right, you get your rank at the end. You don't get your rank at the beginning. You know? So, like, I think that's something I want to caveat this entire video with. You can shit the bed. You can, like, have a 35% win rate for the first 100 games. I don't give a shit.
Maybe you could have a 35, or maybe you could be, you might go up one rank, or maybe be stuck, or maybe go lower ranks for the whole year, and then season 12's happening. Like, because the way that we're framing this is the season. This is it. This is no one's going to play League ever again after season 11. This is the last season.
I'd like to think that the learning cycle isn't that large. I think if you're not getting a single result in a year, that's just not. There's something going wrong.
Yeah,
there.
I would agree with you there.
I mean. So where do you want to start this? I mean, I think we can...
So these are all the things that we want to cover here.
Okay.
So let's talk about people that potentially have not utilized the preseason. Like they felt like people weren't trying. There's no point playing ranked. They might be a little bit behind in the items. They might not be very warmed up on champion mastery. They might not even know their champion pool right now. That could be... So I'd say already, we're on the back foot there.
Yep.
Let's talk about placements. The placement's gone now. You get like a rank, but you're not actually in it. Like when you remember
I think there is placements there.
Okay, there's placements.
But like I think the rank updates every game you play or something. But I don't know if it's like that at the very beginning. Maybe it is like a proper placements.
Let's talk about maybe I'm thinking of doing it in like separate ranks. It's like, what do we think? Like if you're
silver, gold, platinum,
or maybe this is your first season of ranks. Advice for those type of people.
Yeah, I had one on my Discord today. Yeah.
How do you utilize flex games? Do you want to play normal games at all?
Yeah, normal games, flex games.
Optimal schedule.
Yeah, I had a question, a DM, and I get this question a lot, talking about what is the optimal schedule? What should I be doing for maximum improvement? We'll talk about that as well.
Reviewing games, review process.
Yep.
We can touch on mechanics. We can touch about plateauing,
getting stuck. I also want to talk about, and I actually think where we should actually start. And this is actually where I start with a lot of my coaching clients is, I ask them what their goal is. I think that's that's where we got to start. Okay, like, what is your goal? Like this season, what is your goal? And let's actually talk about what is possible and what isn't possible. What is the difference between an ambitious goal and an unrealistic goal?
Okay.
Or maybe you're setting a goal too low. Let's just talk about goal setting for a second here, because I think this is very important.
All right, so let's lead by example, Curtis. What's your goal for next season?
I want to get rank 1.
Rank 1 on OCE.
That's right.
On just one account? You're not going to have other accounts?
On one account. No, I'm going to have my one account. I don't care about having second, third, fourth accounts. I'm going to have one account. That's my main one, and the other one's for testing and learning champions. That's it.
Okay. So my goal is going to be 3 accounts in Challenger. Where I am in Challenger, bottom of Challenger, middle of Challenger, or in the top 20 is going to be... I'm not sure about that one. So
you don't care?
Maybe I think it's going to depend. It's like if I am just feeling it, I'll push for potentially rank 1.
Okay.
But I mean, I just no way at that skill level right now. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's going to take me at least 7-8 months to get to
Yeah.
that. You know, I think 3 accounts challenger I can do, but that's going to be like I got to be a different player. I got to be a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think with you, Nathan, like right now, being brutally honest, I think
Oh,
it's possible.
Jesus.
Definitely think
Yeah.
it's possible.
Yeah.
But the way you play right now is
No,
not possible.
it's not good. I have bad habits.
You have very bad habits, and
I don't review properly.
yeah, I want to talk about this because we talk a lot about like, you know, I mean, we got to hold ourselves to a higher standard, Nathan, and you know, you have your own invisible narratives, and
Just a little.
and dude, I talk about not spamming games, you know, playing in blocks of 3, and we'll get to this later. But let's just talk about, because if you have these problems, Nathan, I'm sure there's other people out there that have similar problems. So let's tell us. Or
So
tell
this is my perspective on my problem,
yeah,
right?
so I want to talk about
It
this.
all goes back to I'm just riding my old days. That's just it. You know, because Diamond was nothing for me back in season 3, season 4, season 5, and now I struggle in it. You know. So the way my mindset is, there's like this little thing that I must be doing something like just a little bit wrong, you know, or something like that. Like I feel like if I just got on this one win streak, I'll get my confidence back, and I'll just be back to my old form. But
So at the moment, you
that's not the
spam
case.
games.
Yeah, I spam games,
And you don't review.
and I don't review any of my games
And
because my mindset is that it's like let's say people that's like Smurf, we make a new account or something like that. You're just playing. You're not reviewing your games. You're just destroying everyone. So you're just like, oh, I just want to get to my elo. So I think my elo is like at least Grandmaster,
right.
you know. So I'm just spamming games, and I'm just like there, but I'm not getting anywhere, dude. I'm like struggling in like Diamond 1 Master tier. Well, not exactly, because I mean, just really recently, I've just powered up accounts in the off season. I plat 1 to D1 in literally like a week.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I can't say I'm struggling, but I'm not like taking that very focused, like 3 blocks a day push to really improve.
Because like, the thing is, man, is like I don't think you're high enough above your
No, it's
what
not,
you're playing
which is-
to just skim through it.
No, you can't.
Like you're like a low Grandmaster player playing in Diamond 1 Master tier games.
Yeah.
And you're viewing it as if like, oh, you know, this is too low for me. Like
That's
I
what
should
it
even
is,
review. Which is just,
It's ridiculous.
I mean, because what this says to me is the habits you're creating right now is it's going to be the
my
same.
mindset is when I get to Grandmaster, then I'll review my
Because so many people have this. I think I'm playing, and I had my coaching client this morning. He literally told me, he said, yeah, I think I'm playing at a rank that's lower than I actually am. That's what he says to me.
Yeah.
And so many people say this to me. They think that they're playing at a rank that they're lower.
Well, yeah. So now I'm really trying, and this is why I think I'm going to be much different from the last seasons. Is now I really accept.
I don't think so, you know.
You don't think I really accept?
No.
I'm excited. I'm a Master Diamond 1 player.
Nathan, so
you serious?
I've genuinely, there's a part of me, I think it's possible.
Yeah.
But a part of me thinks that like, you've just created so many poor habits.
It's going to take me months and months to get out of it.
No, a part of me thinks that there's a chance that you just never. A part of me thinks that you're so stuck in your head that your habits are so bad that you're never going to make it out. A part of me says this. I haven't seen it. It's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years, and you've done the same thing for 2 years.
Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, I'm just looking at your actions, man. I don't know. I don't understand your minds. You know,
You've known me for so long.
Because there's a difference. I know it's possible that you can play at that level, right? But you're so in your head about League that like a part of me thinks it's just like impossible because the habits you've created for 2 years now. That's a long ass time.
Okay. So maybe 3 accounts challenge is just ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying. I want to give you a reality check because I don't want you to get disappointed that like, okay, the rank season starts and then you start struggling Master and then it's been 3 months and you're still in like low Grandmaster Master and then you're starting to get I don't want you to go down that rabbit hole.
How much is 500 LP? Is that Challenger or is that just?
At the end of the last year it was like 600-ish, I think.
Okay, well it is off season and I guess I'm sort of spamming Nunu in a way. So I'm currently, my highest account right now is 195 LP. I'm 200 LP Grandmaster right now. That's my highest account.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, what am I going to set my goal at? Like what's going on here? Like, am I just going to have... Is that it? I'm just going to be 200 LP Grandmaster next season? Like,
no. I think your goal should less be about a I'm going to say something like a bit weird. I would never say this to anyone else.
Yeah.
But I think your goal, you know, you can have your challenger goal, right? But I think your goal should be less a rank and more of like a standard for yourself. Like your goal should be, I want to play a week worth of games with a schedule holding myself to a certain standard. Like I don't like autopilot queue. You know, I don't play when I'm super tired. Like you stay up late playing games, but you're just not playing at 100% capacity. Like you do these things that like I just think that like you need to hold yourself to a different standard. And I think that should be your goal. And then, you know, if you're able to do that, because in my mind, getting challenger requires discipline.
That's right.
It requires discipline.
Especially for us, because we're not mechanical. Like we're just terrible mechanical.
For us, we can't get challenger like a 17-year-old kid will get challenger.
No, that's right.
They can just, like not autopilot, but they can just play a lot and they will get it because they're mechanically just better, right? So for us, we have to hold ourselves to a higher standard. I realize that, Nathan, because last season, at the start of the season, I was like pretty hard stock at around like 350 LP. I bounced between like 200 to 400 just for like 6 months. You know, I actually cracked into challenger like once or twice, getting like 550 LP, whatever. But I always went back down to around 350. And then I had to like, you know, hit my ego, accept reality that what I was doing wasn't working and just change it up and do different things and get out of my comfort zone. So look, I believe it's possible for you, definitely, to get challenger, but it's just going to require so many things that you haven't been doing that it's like a part of me thinks like, why is it going to be any different? You know, why is it going to be any different?
Yeah, there's no indication at all.
There's no indication that it's just randomly that it's going to be all good.
This is my season.
You know, so I mean, I think that you need to reflect in your own time about like how you're going to conduct yourself during season 11 because, you know, it's possible, but what you're doing right now doesn't say to me that you're going to be able to do it.
No.
So, I mean, this is a great thing because I'm sure there's many people out there that, you know, are confused about what their goal. But I don't want them to have unrealistic expectations because it can be very disappointing.
Maybe we have short-term goals and long-term goals. So maybe, like, I mean, I think right now, all I do is I get to Grandmaster 200 LP.
Get to where you're at first.
Get back where I'm at.
Yep.
And then I'll figure out from there. That could take me all year.
Potentially.
You know? And then again, I think what you said there, a focus on having good habits and building good habits. And because again, you put it so well there, is that it's so much more difficult for us now. We said it in was it last podcast where it's harder for being high elo
in the past
to get back to that rank then improve higher because you have all these mental blocks, mental baggage. You know,
it's very difficult.
You know,
it's way harder for us. Yeah, and I realized that firsthand, dude. It was so hard for me to get high challenges.
And is muting all important? Because that's another thing as well that like you see in my games. Like I just get Nathan Mott meme washed up.
Yeah.
Like
Nathan has it way harder than any of you guys in the sense that because Nathan was like really good, like really, really good. And then, you know, he took a break and then he identified himself as like an entrepreneurial guy.
I ran dials for a couple. I was like
right?
the businessman.
You were the businessman. So like you shifted your identity a lot, right?
Yeah.
So people don't view you as like a solo queue player.
No.
And now you're coming back and then like you just get memed for trying.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just people, that's just people that are insecure and shit like that, right?
It's tough, man. Everyone's calling me out. No, but I did say the other thing. It's actually a good thing because I take flame away from my team. So everyone who focuses their attention on me,
you got to mute all. You know, so Woodrow in my Discord. Yeah. So he's a European player, and he lives in Australia now.
Oh yeah.
I think he came for a working holiday. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't actually ask him why he's in Australia, but he's playing solo queue, right? And I don't know what rank he was in. I think he was like Diamond EU, and he was telling me how toxic OS is. And he was saying how...
More than EUS.
Yeah, so he was saying that toxicity in Diamond, like mid-Diamond in OS was like the worst he's like basically ever seen. Like it's shocking. And I think the reason being OS is a very toxic server is because it's quite small at the high elo, right? Like we only have, so 50 challenger spots and there's probably like 300 to like master or something like that. There's not many super high elo players. So if you're in the somewhat high elo bracket, you see the same players quite often. So what happens is that because you see the same players, there's just a lot of egos and there's a lot of like personally attacking. There's a lot of just like
everyone knows each other,
like insane abuse.
Yeah.
Like, so I've given up. I mean, I thought I could maybe like, I went through a period where I unmuted. Then I went through a period where I muted all and it was great. Then I unmuted again just to test the water, see if maybe it calmed down or something like that.
Does it calm down?
And now,
I went away. Does it change?
It hasn't changed. So
Yeah.
I'm going back to mute all every game
Okay.
now. Next, especially in the new season, like
Okay.
just mute all every game, and I unmute pings.
Yeah.
And then if they spam pings and they don't know how to ping, then I mute their pings.
Got it.
I give them like a chance to ping.
Got it. All right, that sounds good. I'll employ
You got
the
to do it.
strategy.
You got to
I'll
do it.
Yeah.
Because you're mentally tough, and I would say I'm relatively mentally tough, not as mentally tough as you, but like I don't think that even me and you combined could deal with it.
No. Especially that, people.
And imagine the average person. This is what I tell the average player should no way have chat enabled.
Yeah.
If you're remotely tiltable, just get rid of it.
Yeah, you got to get rid of it,
man.
It's no use.
There's no use, dude. The advantages no way outweigh the disadvantages.
I mean, you can still type and communicate with your team.
Yeah, you can still type even if it's muted. You
That's
just
right.
don't know what they say. All right, so
So
goals.
we've talked about our goals. So then
Okay.
now we recommend for... I mean, maybe that was it for goals. I mean, people can just...
Oh, no, I just want to quickly touch on what is the difference between like what in your coaching clients, what have you seen as like possible in like a season? Like for me, I saw someone go from I think I had like 2 clients go from like gold to diamond, and in my YouTube section, I had a lot of people go from like, you know, I think high gold to like low diamond, or like plat to diamond, things like that. I had like people go from like silver to high gold, or you know, silver to plat. I've had things like that. I don't really think it's possible to go more than 2 divisions. Like I had someone say they want to go from like silver to master.
You mean 2 whole ranks?
Yeah, so I think you can go from gold to diamond. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously it's proven to be the case.
Yeah.
Like this guy did it.
Yeah, so I had Adam who went from... I mean, he was like a gold player before gold to...
Right.
Plat 1,
Yeah.
like Diamond 1, Diamond 4 promo.
Yeah.
I think that was... what he
So it's
got to.
basically like D4, right? So he's very, very close.
And then obviously Will was... But I mean, he was hardcore focused. That's D1 master to challenger, to like 800 LP challenger.
That's really hard to do.
That's really difficult
That's
to
very
do.
difficult to
Yeah.
do. I mean, it's possible, but
Yeah.
it's just very difficult to do. So I think if you can go up in 1 division in a year, that's like really well done. Like if you went from plat 4 to D4 in a year, like if you were reliably playing very comfortably in Diamond 4 and you started at plat 4, that's a massive effort, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's really props to you.
Yeah, I would say that if you're gold... Yeah, because I mean, I had...
Well, it depends on where it goes, because the big difference between gold 4 and gold 1, by the way.
There is.
There's a massive difference.
So I had... I can't remember what he was when Ishan joined. I think he was gold 4 and he got to plat 2, plat 1.
Wow, that's a big climb.
Yeah, but he tried a lot. He tried
Right.
really hard, and we really mastered Eve. He
Right.
like one-tricked Eve essentially.
Wow.
So I'd say that if you're mid gold, high plat is a really good
Yeah,
goal.
if you're like gold 3, gold 2, like, and you get to plat 1, that's amazing, I reckon.
I had another one actually. Philip, who I think he started iron or bronze, and he got to gold 4.
Wow, that's a big climb.
So I think that it's definitely if you're iron, silver, bronze,
yeah.
gold 4, I think is a great
goal.
very reachable goal if you put in the effort and time. Just from
Definitely.
experience of me working with people.
Definitely.
But no, he wasn't even my coaching. Like, he just watched my free videos.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people like that in my just watch content and get the
Yeah.
same results.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'd say around like, but if you're like gold, going from like gold to diamond is...
Yeah, that's very difficult.
I would say it's definitely possible. I would say only put it as a goal if like you really were willing to put in the time and effort. Like the
how
guy
many
who did
games?
it.
How many games would you need? 1,000 games?
Well, this guy actually, surprisingly, this guy did it in a way. The guy that I'm thinking of right now, who did it, Strangelove, like he did it in a way that was like super disciplined.
Got it.
Like he mastered his
he's
mentality.
like an anomaly
Well, like,
player.
no, he just was very thoughtful. He's a little bit mature. He's a little bit older. Like he was a bit of an older dude. I think he was like probably like mid-20s.
Yeah.
And he was just a master of understanding his mentality. Like if he was tilted, he didn't play. If he wasn't playing, if he wasn't 100% focused, he would play another game. Sometimes he just wouldn't play for that day. It's like, I'm just not ready to play solo queue. I'm going to play like another game or play ARAMs. But every single time he played, he knew it. He played his main champion. He didn't tilt. He just played his level of play every single time. Had tracked all his learning objectives, tracked all his games, took notes after every game, did great reviews after every game, played in blocks of 3.
It's incredible.
He
That's
did
insane.
every.
He's like better than professional players.
Yeah, he did
dude.
he conducted everything perfectly,
Yeah.
and he went from gold to diamond 4.
Yeah. Is he climbed
And I'm
past
still
diamond
I'm still
4s?
coaching him at the moment, and I'm I think he's like Diamond 3 or something like that.
So he's still
He's
climbing.
still there. He's still in there, man.
Jesus, dude, that's awesome.
He's a really like a thoughtful dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now he's expanding his champion pool and stuff like that.
And if you're in Diamond...
Depends on where in Diamond. Let's be specific here.
Diamond 4, getting to D1, I think is great. If you're D2, D1, I think 100, 200 LP, Grandmaster. I think that's realistic.
Master, yeah.
And I mean, I don't think we have much people who listen to us say Master, Grandmaster at the moment.
Well, I have one. Well, yeah, D2, D1. There's a lot of those people. Like D2, a lot of people struggle with D2,
D1, D2 is difficult.
I mean, dude, this is. I'm so excited this year because I really want to work with these players. I'm working with a few that are around that level.
Yeah.
And they're fascinating to me because that's such a difficult rank to climb through. Like going from D2 to
It's
like
all these
Master
tiny
Plus.
details.
Tiny details. Like I was talking
Tiny
to Helia
details.
about it and was saying how it's just creativity. Creativity actually comes into play. Like,
Yeah.
because this is the difference, dude. In high diamond games, right? Diamond 1. Games are relatively chaotic and everyone's pretty good at their champion. So the way games will play out in the early game are drastically different every single time. So you have to and what I said to him, his learning objective is you got to understand the win condition and your role in each comp every game. Like your role as a champion, as a mid laner, say you're playing Victor, you're going to have to play Victor many different ways in order to win like different games. You're going to be a carry one game. You're going to be a facilitator one game. You're going to have to just play team fights one game. One game you might have to side lane more than you like to. You got to be creative. You got to play the game in a different way, and you got to be able to adapt. Adaptability is a skill in itself that if you don't have as a high diamond player, you cannot play in Master Plus. You have to be willing to adapt, and it's very chaotic. And that's why when I was playing Orianna and got like to my rank. It was because the way I played in those high elo games, I want the flexibility in my game plan. That's why I took a very early centric setup. So I had I could play however I wanted. If I needed to play for pressure, I could. But if I didn't, it wasn't the end of the world. So that's what I'm trying to instill in like these players. But it's very difficult. It's a grueling process. Very grueling process. But yeah, I think it's very realistic for a D2 player to get Master. Very realistic.
Just like Master, how much LP?
I think they could get 100
100
200
LP.
around there.
Okay.
Probably. All right. So where do you want to kick this off properly? Like, where are we going to head to?
So let's talk about people. This is a huge group of people. People thought preseason, they didn't really try that hard.
Yep.
They didn't really play ranked. They played normal games and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
what a waste.
I'd say they're not very warmed up for this season.
Yeah.
And I think say they're already started from the back foot.
They're on the back. Yeah, they're on the back foot.
So what's our advice to them? Should they feel like they need to take a month to really get into it first to understand the items and their feel and champion mastery?
The thing is with the new items, right? They actually changed for mid lane anyway. It might be different for jungle, but it actually for some champions even changed their identity slightly.
Fascinating.
Like all the champions like that built Roa, because Roa got removed.
Yeah,
like
that's a big change.
Rise, Kassadin,
No one plays Rise.
Anivia.
Dude, why is Anivia popping up a lot?
Because they got buffed and they increase the speed of the Q, so it's really hard to dodge.
God, dude,
It's really annoying.
Anivia, I cannot stand Anivia.
It's a super annoying champ. Yeah, I hate it as well.
Is it going to be a thing? Is it meta?
I think it'll be around for a little bit, but I don't.
Jeez.
It's just. I think it's actually in a decent spot. Like it was dead for ages. So
Why was it dead? What's the problem with it?
The damage was too unreliable, and it was just too slow. And you had to play it that very fast, aggressive way, which is very risky.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, you couldn't play slow. You had to take Electric and Ignite and play for early aggression.
So what do you take now?
I mean, now you get rewarded for playing that even more now. Because before, like, it was actually quite hard to do so because the Q projectile was very slow. But now they, when they sped it up, it's actually much more reliable. So you can actually get those early kills very easily.
It's like is Anivia good at skirmishing?
Well, the misconception about Nivea is that Nivea is actually really strong, like levels 2 and 3. Like his level 3 is insane. Level 2 and 3.
Because you stun them. And
your damage is just insane. The burst damage is ridiculous.
You don't even have your ult though.
You don't need your ult, dude. You're actually just a burst champ. You're like a Syndra or some shit.
The champion just makes no sense to me.
No, you just have an old view of Anivia. That's what you have.
Do I really?
Yeah. It's view Anivia. I want you to view Anivia like Zoe. in a way.
I had a game, Curtis, where I had a talent on my team, and so Nivea solo killed a talent. It's just insta GG. I'm like, how's that possible?
Yeah, Nivea has really strong
Because she
early game.
hard outscales. She can just build Zonyas.
Well, the thing is with a Nivea, one thing you have to get around your head as well.
Like, when you ult and use Zonyas, does the ult still go?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
God, that's so
yeah, it
OP.
does. But the thing with a Nivea, Nathan, is what you need to get your head around. And Nivea, before hyperscaled, because you were tankier and you did damage.
Yeah.
You're not tanky anymore.
Oh, really?
Because they remove Roa, remember?
Oh, thank God.
Unless they go Everfrost.
Yeah, they're not tanky, actually. That's a good point.
They're
Yeah, now
less
they
tanky.
just do so much damage. Dude.
Yeah,
That's
way
the
less
thing.
tanky.
Yeah.
And on top of that, think about the items that build HP. Everfrost doesn't even build out of a HP component. So
Yeah.
they're actually very squishy for a long period of time.
Got it.
And a lot of them don't even go Everfrost. Some of them even go like Ludens or Leandries. And if they do that, they have no HP.
Got it. And once their egg's gone, they're just free kills.
Yeah. So you just got to play
Okay.
to burst them.
I need to learn how to do that.
Yeah. So we're talking about, so that's what I'm saying. Certain champions actually have differing identities.
Yeah.
Even like champions like Kiana as well, with Eclipse being introduced into the game, Jace as well, Zed. Some of these champions with the new lethality items and Roa removal, champions have changed the way you play them. And with the introduction of Tia and Leandri shifting, things like that, and there's a bunch of little reasons, and Darksteel Snowball having HP and being a starting item. There's like a lot of little things that change the way certain champions can trade, which says to me that if you haven't played in preseason that much at all, you need to actually just don't even start by learning a new champion. Just go back to your main champions. Make sure on your core 2 or 3 champions, just go back and try and figure out their identities, figure out the optimal setups, experiment around, whether it's on a second account or whether it's on normal games, whatever it is, then dive in first.
I would say it's not so much about your champion items, because that's pretty easy. You can figure out a build and figure out pretty quickly. It's more the feeling versus other champs.
It's a lot more
One big
damage.
thing, Gore Drinker, is changes skirmishes so much. You know the thing that heals and
Heals,
those
a lot of
things?
healing.
You got to take that into consideration now. And if you haven't played a lot, you're going to forget that and you're going to slip
Same
up
as
really
like
easily.
Prowler's Claw.
Yeah, Prowler's Claw. Gale Force,
Gale
the little
Force.
jump thing.
Oh, that thing's annoying. That took me a while to get used to.
Yeah,
There's
like,
a lot of little things.
I played against a Kindred the other day. The first time I played him with the Gale Force, and it just changed. Like,
Changed
his
everything.
threat level just increased, and I had to just rewire the way I was
Yeah.
playing skirmishes and fights.
It's like, for me, when I play Orianna, now I have to take into account that like they have Gale Force to dodge my ult. It's super
Got it.
annoying. It's actually changed the effectiveness of mid champs, I think, in a way. I actually think Orianna's way worse because
they can dodge your ult.
Yeah, it's
with Gale
huge.
Force. Just that one item.
Yeah, that one item changes the threat.
Interesting.
Because I could
It
just
does.
control
On
his
AD carries,
own,
yeah.
and then if they walked up, I could ult, but I can't even ult anymore.
I guess Gale Force is super quick, so it dodges Orianna,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
it's really easy to dodge. So yeah, you need to go back to like don't even bother learning champs. Go back to your main champions first, and just spam games to just get a feel for what is in the game. Probably even in normal games would do it, honestly.
Okay, well then let's segue into normal games versus flex games, normal games, and ranked.
Okay.
So how much do you want to be playing of each of these based on your so let's say if this is your first season of ranked, should they be playing normal games? You know, the question's always like, even players in silver and gold is like, Nathan, do I play normal games to learn a champion?
Oh, man, I think playing, okay. This is actually a very difficult question for me to answer because I can pick up a champion really fast. I played the game for so long.
Yeah, but you have fundamental
Yeah.
understanding of the game that a silver or bronze player doesn't have right now.
So
or a
maybe
new player.
if you are like a relatively new player, like you've only played for like a season or something like that, or like you're brand new, you should definitely be playing at least like 25, 30 normal games on a champion. And then once you're at that level, I would say, Nathan, we both agree on this, right? In the saying that many players fear ranked. You just got to play ranked.
Yeah, ranked needs to become normal for you.
Yeah.
So the way people view, so this is the problem with playing lots of normal games or even flex games. When you go into ranked, you view it as like a big event, a spectacle. The way that we view ranked, we're just rocking up to work every day. It's like, all right, yeah, guys, another game, we're just queuing up. It's so normal.
But what's interesting is that dude who got results going from gold to diamond, he was able.
Did he only play ranked?
Well, no, he played a lot of like normal games with friends. So the interesting thing about this guy
Blows
is
my brain.
he simultaneously was able to understand that, you had to play a decent amount of ranked games, obviously, to get from like.
I was going to say,
gold to diamond.
how many did he play out of
But he
curiosity?
didn't actually play that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was
500, 1,000?
No, it was pretty. It was a small amount. I think it was only like 400 and something.
Jesus, that must be some of the fastest. Well, that's a world record.
500 and
dude.
something. Yeah, it was not. It wasn't many. I don't think.
Dude, this guy. We need to get this guy on
Was
the
it
podcast,
600?
dude.
Might have been 600.
This guy's insane.
Yeah, that's what shocked me. And what this guy did, which I don't think many other players can do, he didn't play many ranked games, but when he played, he didn't overcomplicate it and he didn't get in his head.
Okay.
So that's what we see, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I had a coaching client this morning that, they overemphasize ranked. It's like, they play, I saw his account, he had like only 200 games of ranked in a season or whatever it was. And then like, every single time they play ranked, it's like a huge, like you said, it's a huge event.
Spectacle.
So here we go. Everything has to be perfect. My keyboard has to be perfect. No, your rank game has to be like a normal game.
No, because what happens is they fear losing so much.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, this rank game is going to hurt my rank. It's like, what's the future? Like, oh my God, I'm so far away from my gold, silver. Gold's so far away now. Like, what do I do? Yeah, this teammate's losing me in the game. I can't go. This guy is 0-7.
Like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to my MMR if I lose this game? Fuck. Fuck me, dude.
This is my 4th game I've lost now. I need to start a new account.
Oh, no. Just play. You got to play. There's just a... Okay, let's clarify why it's important to play a lot of games, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 things. First of all, the difference between normal and even flex and ranked is that ranked solo queue, because of how much people care about their rank, there's just a differing level of intensity.
Yeah.
Right? There's just... The game's different.
And at the end of the day, normal game matchmaking just busted.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. And on top of that, even if you verse a player that's higher than you, say you're a silver player and you verse like a platinum player in a normal game, the chances that platinum player is even trying, that guy could be playing drunk for all you know.
Yeah.
Like me, I've played normal games all the time drunk, right?
Or just different roles and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
playing a different role. Like I never play mid if I play... Dude, I lose to platinum players and gold players as like a top 10 challenger because I'm just playing like... I'm playing like a support. I'm playing like an 80 carry that I never play and I'm playing half-ass alt-tabbing. Doesn't mean shit.
No.
You're not even going to learn anything because what I'm doing isn't realistic. It's not the way the matchup's going to play out.
Right, so flex queue then, Curtis.
So I think flex queue is great for learning champions.
Because it's a little bit better matchmaking.
It's a little bit better matchmaking. It's a little bit more intense, but you're still not playing at your rank fully. I think that's what it's good for. But other than that, I think it's kind of a waste of time. Unless it's for fun, you can play for fun. But one thing we don't talk about, Nathan, is that I think you can instill bad habits.
When you play normal and flex games.
Well, I think you can instill bad habits playing on a lower elo, playing in flex queue, and playing in normal games.
Okay.
So there are a few things. Because I want to say this from personal experience. Nathan, when I went through my huge slump around like early mid this year.
Yeah.
You know what actually happened, I think, is that I was going through a period where I was like making a lot of guides, right? And I was switching on my champion pool a lot. And that was obviously one element. I didn't have my champion mastery, but one part of it is that because I was playing in Diamond 1 and like Master Tier, like my lower elo accounts like Master Tier for so long, that it actually made me worse because the players or the caliber of players I was versing was just lower. Like there's a big difference between a 50 LP master tier player versus like a 500 LP challenger. It's like a huge difference. So like I was actually instilling bad habits.
Yeah. A big thing I feel like is that you lose if you play in lower elo or like not at your rank, you start to play skirmishes and get worse mechanically because you're not getting pushed to that level. You're not getting pushed.
Especially in the laning phase.
There's like a level of... Yeah, I mean, I'm a jungler, so I don't have laning phase. But yeah, that would be huge for laning phase. Because you're not going to get punished on that CS.
You don't get punished when you should.
You're playing a different game.
Yep.
You're literally playing a different game.
Different game. We're not even exaggerating. It's a completely different game.
Yeah. It's like League of Legends 3 or 4 or 5,
Yeah. So I think, normals and flex have their place, but you got to... This is probably one of the biggest things we're going to say to people. They got to internalize is that ranked is your bread and butter.
It's beautiful.
Right, and I think we should actually just tie this in now with an optimal solo queue schedule.
Okay,
I think it just slides in perfectly.
How many games of ranked do we going to be? What's a good schedule?
Let's go deeper. Let's talk about sleep. Let's talk about...
Oh, geez, you want to get into all of this.
We're talking about schedule here. People who are seriously trying to improve.
Okay.
Let's start with like what the most optimal would look like, and then once we have that, we can like kind of, maybe alter it a little bit.
So, Curtis, not everyone's like us where we just play League full time, right? So,
no, but I mean, we have listeners. I mean, I have clients that want to go pro.
Okay. Well, maybe we separate it into people that have like 8-hour workdays or school.
Let's start with
And
someone.
then pro players, people just trying to go full
Okay,
time.
so let's start with someone. Yeah, let's start with a person who goes uni or work, and
Uni's probably like 3 hours, right? Works probably. There's probably 3 categories then: university, work, full time job, so
And then,
university part time job, full time job,
And then, like, pro players
and then pro
full-time.
players full time. Yeah.
Okay, let's start with the full-time worker then. They have like an 8-hour day, you know, they were 9 to 5.
Well, also category full time worker with schools technically full time, right? As well,
School's
right?
full-time
Like
as well. So this is
high
similar
school
to
or
if you're in
something.
high school.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
high school. Yeah.
Okay.
So high school.
I mean, first of all, we need to talk about sleep.
okay.
Sleep, I mean...
So you need your 8 hours, Curtis? 7 hours?
I mean, the
Is it
thing
depend?
is, dude, it's
10
like,
hours?
it sounds like a bit of a meme at this point. You
Yeah.
know? It's like... Because we saw on Dials, like... We had players rock up to scrims with, like,
Ridiculous
you know,
sleep
4
schedules.
hours sleep.
Yeah. Less than that,
And
man.
Less than that. But I mean, I think that's kind of outdated, though, because that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think times have changed a little bit. And I think
Okay.
I from talking from personal experience, and this is not like just making shit up, I genuinely play worse when I'm tired. Like when I don't get a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Just straight up. I mean,
That would make sense. I mean, that's
it just makes
logical.
sense. So, I mean, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a sleep doctor. I don't know shit about the science of sleep in depth. I know it's great for you. But I mean,
personal
I'm just a believer in
experience.
8 hours. You
Yeah.
know, some people function on 7, things like that. All I'm saying is that, okay, if you do have only 6 hours of sleep, I'm not saying don't play League, but you're not going to be able to do 2 blocks of 3. There's just no way in my mind. You're going to do 2 blocks of 3 in 10 sessions.
No.
Or what's going to happen, your reviews, you're going to miss things. That you're not actually going to be able to think deep enough and ask high quality questions and get into the review and get the most out of those games.
So this would apply to all those categories?
All of the categories.
Okay. But I mean, yeah, it would also apply. Let's say if you have a full day's work and you're tired after that work, is playing...
Yeah, you're not going to be able to play 2 blocks of 3.
Yeah.
You're only going to be able to probably play 3 games of intense solo queue, in my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, there's just no way. There's just no way someone who has a tiring job, they were like a tradie, they're a bricklayer or whatever, they come home, they're not going to be able to play 6 games of ranked, right? At a good level.
So maybe for those people, we have 3 super focused intensive games.
Well, what do you think about school people though? It's kind of different. I feel
High
like.
school. Maybe it is different because me, dude, I'll just grind
You could
after,
grind.
dude.
You could. You're just so excited. Too.
Yeah, because
think
I was
it's
thinking
different.
about League during my high school.
And plus, in school, it's not that intensive
Intense.
environment.
I mean, I didn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends, I guess, what school you're from, but
Yeah. Okay, so maybe we've got 4 categories here, guys. We've got a lot to cover.
okay.
man.
So let's start with what we do know. What I do know is that breaking up your games into blocks or your sessions into blocks is very useful.
Yeah.
Where you have, you know, okay, first of all, I'm going to go very in depth here. And this is something that not all of you can do, but I am going to talk about it for all of them. Is for me, I am terrible at going from Facebook to YouTube, like an entertaining YouTube video, to solo queue. You do this all the time, and it just doesn't make sense
Yeah,
to
this
me.
is part of my problem.
Yeah, it's one of Nathan's problems, which is just watching YouTube videos all the time.
Yeah.
But for me, when I play my best solo queue,
Oh,
it's
jeez.
okay. I know this is my solo queue time.
Yeah.
I only watch league content. In my queues, I'm watching high-low VODs of the matchup that I just played.
Yeah.
Or my older VODs, or my VOD from the last game. And I'm trying to stay I try to not check my phone. I don't go on Facebook. I don't go on Twitter. Because what happens, if it's like the attention residue. If you're about to go into a game and then you were just on Facebook talking to your friends and they say something really funny or say talking about the weekend or whatever it is, you're going to be thinking about that. And it's very unlikely you're going to be utilizing the load screen well. You're probably going to miss things.
You miss things, dude.
It's
I
very
miss
difficult to
things
go from
all the
one.
time.
It's so hard to go from like 0 to 100.
Yeah.
So just
I mean,
stay-
I experienced this myself. Yeah. I mean, I need to have an optimal schedule. I need to do a proper schedule. I've never done it before in my solo queue history, right?
I know. I've never. That's what I'm saying, Nathan. It ties back to the first thing we said. That's
Like,
why I'm
yeah,
worried that it's just not possible because
it's
you've
not
never
possible.
seen it.
Yeah, because you can get away, again, being a 17, 18 with not having a schedule and just playing 18 games a day.
Yeah.
But I can't get away with that anymore.
No. And I would say most of our viewers probably aren't a 16, 17-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Probably actually 20, mid-20s.
So I
Like
need
us.
to have a good optimal schedule. This is everyone's gonna hold me accountable here. Everyone needs to track my accounts. So I got a Nathan Mott. That's what I'm going to start with. Just
Nathan
Nathan
Mott,
Mott
right.
on OS. That's the one that's 200.
I mean, I'm the one who's going to be upset because I can walk past your room. And if I see alt tabbing on YouTube or like, I don't know what the hell you're doing there.
Yeah.
During solo queue, and it's just done.
Yeah, it's finished.
I'm just going to call you on the podcast.
Yeah, I have to be called out.
Yeah.
Everyone has to.
I will.
Curtis is the one that can easily most hold me accountable.
Yeah.
And then the viewers can just sort of see my accounts just fluctuate or just be stuck in diamond.
No, there's nothing wrong with being stuck in diamond. That might just be your level of play at that time. At that
Yeah, that's
specific
right.
time.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe the levels actually increased a little bit or whatever it is. You might be a low muscle weight, but that's fine. If you're trying your best and doing everything you can with a great schedule and you're in master tier, that's nothing much to worry about.
No, it's not.
Then
You'll eventually get it.
But then you plateau, you find what's going wrong, you set learning objectives and you move on. You know, that's what I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about you holding yourself to a schedule. So schedule, we're talking about, so I try to anyway, and this may be not for everyone, but if you do want the best results, in my experience, and I had this for my pro players, we had computers that only had League. You weren't allowed Facebook. You weren't allowed your phones. There was no Twitter. You could only go on YouTube for VODs of League, League-oriented content only for a session, a block. And then after the block's done, you can do whatever you want. But that's League time. This is solo queue time. This is where you focus. And the other thing about this is that once you go in, you shouldn't be talking to your friends on Discord either. This sounds pretty brutal.
Yeah, you got to get rid of Discord.
You can't be on comms with your friends in between games and shit. Like,
yeah, I've actually seen that a lot actually.
Yeah, it's not healthy.
When people sent me some VOD like recordings of their gameplay a while back, I would see them like in a Discord call as they're playing. I'm like, whoa, it blew my mind.
Yeah. I don't know how you can play with anyone talking. That's why I have to mute when I'm streaming on Discord. I can't play with anyone talking.
Yeah.
I need to be 100% focused.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
So ideally, I mean, you can, I'm not going to say you can't talk in between games about, on the Discord, but if you're in a voice chat with people like in game and shit, like it's just really rough. And I would also say that you should be spending your time in between the games to review the previous game. And remember what I said about notes? And this is the biggest thing about note taking, by the way. I don't even view note taking in the way that, like, I got to take all the perfect notes. Just what I love about them, it's a bookmark. This is what the analogy I said in my video. Notes are a bookmark, right? So you have your solo queue session, you write down your final notes at the end of your session, and then like you even summarize maybe a few dot points from things you got from the session. And then when you go to the next session the next day, you go to your solo queue session, you start it. The first thing you do is open up your notes like a bookmark. That's where this is where I was. Oh, interesting. That's what I was thinking last night. You can even maybe quickly replay over a few of the VODs. That is like, it's a really great way to see where you left off. So I also think that's pretty important as well.
Yeah, I think note taking is good. Just jot things down and then just recap it. And then maybe you can slowly organize it at the end of the week. Like what's common notes, common things for each day, separate into days. I'm going to experiment with that a bit. I'll report everyone my findings.
Yeah. And what else for schedule? I mean, if we think back for me... Yeah,
so if you're a pro player, trying to be a pro player, you can play League full time. The best thing would be to play 9 games a day.
I would say you could even push like 4 of those games in a block if they're like short.
Yeah. So
but three blocks of 3, but max probably like 12
games.
Yeah.
Okay.
But even then, that's like to do that, you would have to wake up pretty early, eat well, break, gym, exercise in between, and get out of here. So that's what I recommend. If you do want to play 2 blocks in a day, if it's a weekend or something like that, you do your block. Then after that block of 3, you write your notes. You literally get away from the computer. Ideally, you literally go outside, go gym, go snack, eat lunch, whatever you want to do. Walk away from your computer, then come back.
Okay,
I think that's very important.
So I find that people are really bad at following that. Even the people that listen to this, people will still sit on their channel and play 10 games straight for whatever reasons. Tilt.
Dude, even for me, in between games, I like walking up and like just chatting to you. I like there's a mental refresh. I hate staying in my chair for long periods of time. Yeah. That's actually one of the reasons I dislike streaming as well.
Yeah, because you're just stuck.
Streaming, I just feel like I'm stuck. I'm just like here in my chair. Like I can't move, dude. I got to like sit in front of this camera.
That's a good point.
I hate that about streaming. I really do.
Well, the way I say that, because Curtis, I'll sit down there and play 10 games in a row, dude. Like, that's what
Yeah,
I
you're
do.
good at that. You never move out of your chair.
I hate, but it's not good, dude. I don't feel good. If I'm like, unless I'm like just winning every game, I have insane confidence, I don't feel good by sitting. That's another thing I need to do. I'm gonna write that down right now.
Dude, I don't know how you do that, because even when I win, I can't play more than like 3 games. If I win 3 games in a row, I'm exhausted, dude. For me, mentally, I'm just drained. I don't know how to win more than 3 games in a row without just like feeling. If I'm trying,
Yeah, I know.
If I'm really trying,
I just don't try. Apparently, then
I can't. I'm just exhausted, especially on my high. Dude, on my Challenger account, if I played like 2 games in a row, I'm cooked. For me, anyway, I'm just absolutely cooked. Maybe I'm just like a boomer, but I don't know.
you could be getting old.
Maybe.
And can't recover. From
So what else do we know about schedules, Nathan? Let's go back to the 8-hour work day.
Okay, 8-hour work day. So you come home and you play 3 games. Okay, this is what okay, let's say if you're, because I definitely want you to still get games in if you're lower elo, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to do 3 games minimum
On your main.
on your main.
Yep.
And then still on your main, I want you to do 2 games that can be unfocused is fine, because I want you to still be warmed up and stuff like that. So
what do you think
5
about normals
games,
and flex queue and that's for that?
most optimal.
Or do you think just play ranked anyway?
Okay, so that's me assuming that you can play ranked all the time. Maybe, yeah, only...
Because I had that guy, what he did, by the way, that dude who went from gold to diamond. So he played ranked and he got off Discord, didn't talk to his friends, didn't listen to music, did nothing, only played his games. Then after his session, he would go and play normals and other games with his friends, flex queue and things like that.
Okay, so then maybe
he actually separated it.
3 hardcore focus solo queue games, and you have the option to do 2 more ranked games or 2 more flex or normal games.
Yeah. I still think that even if they want to play those 2 more ranked games, I still think they should take at least a little bit of a break.
Yeah, that's
20
right.
minutes
Yeah,
at least.
I agree.
Before you jump into those other 2 ones.
Yeah.
Like just a mental refresh and just reflect a little bit. What else about that? I mean, I think that's pretty self-explanatory for that one. Let's go to university. How does it differ?
Well, university, their schedules
You have
really
more time.
fluctuate, and they fluctuate a lot throughout the day, so they can play a lot, dude. Maybe they could be playing at least 2-3 hour. 2-3 game blocks.
So now, let's get more specific. Let's talk about times in the day.
Okay, times in the day.
Because in the uni studio, you probably have options. You can probably do your lectures whenever you want.
Yeah.
So the highest quality games, generally, it's like in the evening. I would say between 6 and 9.
Yeah.
I would say that's like the highest quality games.
Yeah.
If you wanted the highest quality games, that's when you would play. I would avoid playing past 11 p.m. midnight.
I would say between 5 and 9, I think.
5 and 9's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can get 3 games in there, 3 or 4 games in there, that's really good.
5 p.m.
Yeah,
to
5
9
p.m.
In case people...
Not AM.
people
I
have some
also
gamer
think
schedules.
that I would avoid early morning and I would avoid late at night. If you had the option, tying back to the pro plays kind of works for the university one because I think they're kind of tired. If I had the option, I would do a 3 or 4 game block from 12 till 3, around 12 till 3 or something like that.
Yep.
Then I'll take a break, and then I'll do a 5 till 8 or something, or even later. Maybe I'll do 12 till 1 to 4, and then do something else, have dinner and stuff like that, and then maybe 6:30 to 9:30. For me personally, I'll do something like that.
Yep.
2 games. That's my 2 blocks. I
okay.
try to avoid, if possible, playing ranked early in the morning and late at night.
Yeah. Well, early in the morning, just queue times.
Queue times are just bad, and even the games are pretty low quality.
Yeah.
And same as late at night.
So we're talking about midnight plus.
Midnight plus is terrible to play.
Yeah.
And as long as, I think for uni students as well, and this is, I've said this before on the podcast, what I would recommend if possible is get your shit, and even for school, if you're coming home from school and you have homework, do the homework first. So I had a rule in my house, by the way. My dad said I had to do homework first before I played the computer. So I got really good at doing my homework.
Yeah.
You know what I did? You're going to think this is absolutely ridiculous, by the way. And probably no kid did this.
Oh, jeez.
I would literally get in the house. So no, before I get in the house, I take off my shoes.
Yeah.
I put down my bag. I don't even have a snack. I open my bag, put my homework on the table, and I'll do my homework instantly. For like
That's so good though,
instantly,
because then it's off your head and you just play the rest of the
because
night.
I wanted to play computer as fast as possible, and I knew that I couldn't play until I did my homework.
Yeah.
And my dad would see it.
Yeah.
To boom, I was in my room by like 4 o'clock playing games, whatever it was.
Wait, so you get so you finish your homework in 30
This was
minutes?
in because my primary school. I live really close to my primary school.
Yeah.
It only take like 5 minutes to get home.
Oh my God,
I'd get
guys.
home by like
What about high
3:35,
school?
3:40. Same thing in high school. I did my homework straight away, every single time. I'd finish my homework most of the time by 4:30.
You're just insane for that, dude. Honestly, I would do it in bed, dude, at 9:30.
Because I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I could not do homework later on. 2 things. It made me play worse.
Yeah.
I just genuinely couldn't focus. And 2, I knew that as soon as it got to like, if I played after, I would never do the homework.
Yeah.
And I'll just get
Yeah,
screwed.
that's just why I just never did that.
You just never did the homework, right? So that dude, that helped me in university.
Yeah.
Do all my work at university.
Yeah.
Get it out of the way. Because that actually works perfect. If you wake up early in the morning with your uni and you do online stuff, right? Smash it out from like 9 to 12. Do like your 2 or 3 hardcore hours of like work and lectures. Get your shit done. Do an and then have like the rest of the day to play games. I love that. I mean, that's my personal take on it. It's just such a better way to do things.
I agree. I mean, I can't relate because I just did no schoolwork, and I don't recommend you to do that at all. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a reason why I got
Yeah.
one of the lowest scores in my high school, year
Yeah.
12. Don't do that. Just
Don't
do your
do
work.
that, yeah.
You know, I could have gone definitely down a different route, dude. Just bad at games, and I could have just been.
You got away with it very luckily.
Yeah, I lucked out on that bit. Anyways, so are we happy with schedule there?
I think we need to talk more about the pro level stuff.
Okay, so if we're being a pro player,
Because I've had players that just really want to go pro. If we take things to the next level, like if you think Nathan, someone like Will, for example,
Yeah.
like what are things you recommend Will to do, like next level shit? I mean,
we haven't really talked about. Well, we're focusing hardcore on learning objectives. Like one thing we're working on right now is information gathering and sharing, and that's all we're doing for a week or maybe multiple weeks until it's, you know, with the saying we have is we're going to practice it till we can't get it wrong.
Yep, I like it.
So it's pretty much just hardcore focused, but I actually probably need to talk to him about schedule because he's actually getting back to school now. He's in high school. So I need to figure that out.
Okay, well,
But he just plays like 10, 15 games a day.
so I talk to 6'10",
Yeah.
and this guy's the most professional kid I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right? And he wants to go pro. He's EU. He's a European Challenger player. And I help him on the side. And I love his schedule, dude. I just love the way
So he actually thought this out through himself, and he actually has
he's
a
just a
proper
beast.
schedule.
He goes to bed at a certain time every time.
Yeah, that's insane.
Like even when we're talking and we know we're having a good conversation, like, sorry, I got to go to bed.
That's awesome.
Right? So he'll go to bed at like a good time. I don't know what it is in Europe. I think
So how
it's
much
like
LP
10:30
is he
something.
right now? When did he
Like
finish?
800 or something like
in
that.
EU West.
Yeah. It's like around 800, I think, at the moment.
Yeah.
But the other thing he does really well is that he always watches or studies really great, like amazing athletes and performers. Like he watched documentaries. He watched like The Last Dance. He's like read books on like what's his name, the coach from the Bulls, Phil Jackson.
Yep.
He just studies amazing athletes and like just reads biographies and like watches Netflix when he's not like playing league, when he's relaxing time. And he's obsessed about what the mentality and mindset of these players. And he understands, and his review process is amazing. He gets into the details to an insane amount. Like he's always questioning. He doesn't give a shit about win rates and stuff. He learnt Aurelia in Grandmaster in Europe. And he went all the way down to like a 2% win rate or whatever. People were dodging him. And he had to keep dodging to get Aurelia and shit. He's like insane mentality.
I love that.
He just doesn't give a shit about anyone else.
Yeah.
And then learnt Aurelia, now he's confident in Aurelia. He embraces the not give a shit about win rates, which is insane.
Yeah.
What else does he do? I don't know 100% if he exercises, but that is one thing you have to do on your schedule.
Yep.
So Nathan, I think you take over here.
Okay.
You recently have started to get into exercising.
Yeah, we went gym 4 days a week.
We go gym 4 days a week. And you even started exercising at the start of last year with
it
the bike
was.
and running
Yeah,
and stuff.
it
And that was actually really good for you. So
yeah.
as someone for you who wasn't traditionally, you know, what a big exercising
junkie.
person,
Yeah.
how important do you think it is?
I mean,
for you personally?
I'd say I haven't, in terms of results for solo queue, I can't say right now that I've gotten any results.
Yeah.
Because I had all these other problems. So
Yeah.
it's like, I can't really say, yes, you know, you have to exercise because that's how you climb. Because,
Yeah.
you know, there's nothing to show for it right now.
For you, yeah.
So this is another thing. I'll share progress with everyone.
What about at the start of the year when you were really like, you're really productive?
Yeah, but I wasn't playing much solo queue. I was
No,
just
but let's just say
coasting.
this is less about solo queue, just more about productivity and energy levels and just like things like that.
Yeah.
Like, how did you feel? Because people don't really believe that it changes the way you feel. They think that they end up more tired and things like that.
Well, I was definitely because I would start my days really early. So like, I would start running at like, 6, 7 a.m. Right. So like, yes, I'm super tired by, 6 p.m.
Right. That's just because you get up super, super early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, because what I was doing at that point, like that was when my YouTube, when I was doing review videos. So like, I wasn't really playing solo queue, but I was just reviewing. I write all my notes down, record the video, I'll do 2 reviews a day, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I did for like 2-3 months. And I'll say it definitely helps, but not so much for the fact that, okay, so exercising gave me a reason to wake up early. That's what it was, because it was during summer in Australia and I had to run in the mornings.
Yeah, because you can't run in the middle of the day.
Yeah, because it's just way too hot. You'll die. So that was essentially
Right.
why I had to do that.
Interesting.
But let's say in terms of productivity levels, I would probably only be doing like 1 review a day if I woke up at like 9 and didn't do exercise. But if I was to, because basically when you exercise, the moment you get back from exercise, you have a shower, that's when you feel most like
feel amazing.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, you feel like a
that's when
beast.
you can do the most highest productive work in my eyes. But we can't really do that with our schedule because we don't.
We do.
By the time we get back, ideally I'm playing solo queue,
Right.
but that's not. I'll be reviewing or doing reviews
Right.
or something like that.
Right. Well, I think it's a misconception. So people think that gymming and weight training and stuff like that, like you come back and you're more tired. I've just never found that to be the case.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not the case. I'm most pumped straight after the gym.
Yeah. So, again, you should keep us updated throughout the year on like how it makes you go with solo queue, how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
But for me, I think it's a no-brainer.
Okay.
I feel like absolute shit.
You always tell me you hate it.
I hate not exercising
You
so much.
felt like you were
just dying, man.
literally
Just
dying.
like, because sitting in the seat for long periods of time,
That's the big one, isn't it?
it's shocking.
Sitting in the
It
seat
just drains you, man.
with terrible posture.
It drains you.
Yeah, it does.
So, if for me, my opinion, if you wanted to go pro, exercise in the middle of the day is just so important.
Yeah.
It's a great way of breaking up your day as well, by the
Yeah.
way. It's a really great way of breaking up your day. And diet and water, things like that. Anyone want to talk about that quickly?
Water's awesome, dude. I love water.
Water.
Water
Drink
is
plenty of water.
just amazing.
What about diet?
Diet.
Nathan, sometimes you said you feel like shit when you eat, like, you're telling me how you went through that period where you ate a lot of Domino's pizza and you didn't feel good. I think that's a pretty no-brainer.
That's pretty obvious.
Pretty obvious.
Eating like 3 Domino's pizzas in 24 hours.
Maybe we can get someone on one day about nutrition.
Yeah, that's a good one. About how
I don't think we know enough about
Yeah, I
nutrition.
can't comment at all.
Yeah.
We just have a pretty standard-ish diet.
Oh, but I just know that I feel like dick
Yeah.
when I...
yeah. Especially you don't like eating pasta because you feel...
Yeah, I always feel really tired
I'm
after
fine
pasta.
after pasta.
If I have like spaghetti bolognese at the end of the day, I can't play solo queue.
Yeah.
I'm just done. I'm calling it a night.
Pack it up at
Everyone in
6 p.m.,
Dial said that as well.
Did
Remember?
they?
Calvin and shit. They'll just fall asleep on the couch.
That's true.
Stephen and Calvin King used to always just fall asleep on the couch after like having spaghetti bolognese. All right, so I think we touched on a bit. A last caveat here for schedules, guys, is that at the end of the day, you got to listen to your body and listen to yourself. Like, what works for you? What works for me and Nathan is not going to be what works for you personally. Try out some of the things we've mentioned today. Yeah, I think you kind of get the gist of where we're coming from. See what feels good. Give it a shot for a few weeks. If it doesn't feel good, maybe there's a way of you alternating it. Maybe you play longer. Maybe you actually review at the end of the session. Maybe because that gets you better results. Maybe you only take notes at the very end of your block. Maybe maybe you actually like to do your homework at the end of the night. Get all your intense solo queue done and then finish at the end of the day. I don't know what works for you. I'm just saying what works for me in my experience with my coaching client, with my being a head coach. So yeah, give it a go and listen to your body. And that's something. It sounds so weird, doesn't it? Just like listen to your body.
What does that mean?
But like, I don't know how to articulate this in any other way. But it felt like, so you know who I got this from? It's all from Shern.
Yeah. Just a
Shern,
feel guy.
Shern was a feel guy. Shern
Yeah.
Fire, now playing for C9 Academy.
Yeah.
He always used to say things saying, Curtis, like, this doesn't feel right. I just don't, this doesn't, like, he always like, listened to instinct and gut feeling. And I was I was like opposite completely. Like, I didn't believe in that shit. But like, he had a point. I started doing it and like, wow. Feeling and your instincts and your subconscious, people just don't listen to their body. They don't listen to how they feel emotionally. If someone makes you feel uncomfortable or tired or anxious or upset, that is a sign. That is your body or your mind telling you, you need to put attention toward this area. It's a signal. It's a red light. It's like blinking at you. So do this with your schedule. What feels great for you?
At the end of the day, we're going to be looking at the results, right? So if things was working, I mean, sometimes it's bad to think that way because it could be like luck. But if over an extended period of time, if you're liking the results and you're feeling good, then that's probably something to keep doing, keep replicating.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into actual gameplay stuff now, Curtis. Win rates, smurfing, and plateauing.
All right. Well, I think before we get into this, we need to talk about learning objectives.
Learning objectives, that's true.
Because I get all the time, you know.
What do I focus on?
Yeah, what do I focus on? Do you get that with your clients and people?
I don't actually. I don't know why.
What do you focus on? You know, this is such a difficult question to answer.
It is.
It really is.
Maybe I'll just ignore the question.
I mean, without looking at the VOD.
Yeah,
It's just really hard.
I don't answer that for people that I don't coach.
Right.
That's just as simple as
that.
that.
Okay. So because you need to watch their VODs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting to the point where, like, if you've watched all my content and you still don't know what to focus on or you're overwhelmed, and it's so difficult for me to say unless I watch your gameplay.
Yeah.
Simple as that. So the advice I would give if you don't, you know, if I'm not coaching you, things like that, then you got to just pick something. Pick two things. And I spoke about how you can identify this. I actually talked about learning objectives in my last video. Check that out. But don't worry, even if it's not perfect, it's still going to be fine. Like, you're not going to get worse, right? You're not going to get worse by getting better at one thing. It may not give you that many results, but if it doesn't give you results over a month, then move on. But as a little caveat, I will be changing my coaching platform.
So you're working on in January this month?
I'm working on it this month. Hopefully, it'll be
Curtis
about
away in his
February.
little lab, just whipping up this amazing coaching platform.
So I'll be able to coach a lot more people.
Excellent.
So I've spread this to a few people. So if you're interested in that, just hold out to around February. But learning objectives. So do you focus? Would you get your clients to focus on like 1, 2 things, 3 things? How do you?
Yeah. So let's say it's like the most obvious ones is like, I mean, I have a pretty big focus on early game, to be honest, because as a jungler, early game is like just so important. Because that's when you have the most influence on the game. You know, at the end of the day,
most is in your control.
Yeah. So. It's like, okay, are you clearing correctly? You're just doing the clear correctly. If they're not doing that, well, that's just, you're just going to figure, just go to a custom and practice that, right? Yeah. Next one would be tracking, knowing where the enemy jungler is, just predicting the early path.
But do you get
checking CS?
But do you get these people to focus only on one thing? Is it?
Probably not as much as I should. To be honest, I cover a lot of things in my reviews. But try after every review I do, I'll be like, okay, this is what we need to focus on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just one thing.
Yeah.
And how long do you recommend? How do you say like how long for or like until?
Yeah, I don't say that at all, to be honest. That's probably something I should get down.
Okay. So you just like set it and then they just.
I'd say it's very much like, all right, I've told you this, now you figure it out yourself type stuff.
In a way, right. Interesting. Okay, so the other things you said was win rates and...
Okay, so right now I have a 51% win rate.
Yep.
And this ties into Smurfs as well. Can we make an agreement? Everyone watching the podcast, if you get stuck at a rank, you're not going to make a new account.
Yeah. You're not going to get... It's not because you're MMR.
No.
It's not because you're in loser's queue. It's not because... Right's targeting you, whatever it is.
The Broken by Concept army, Curtis, we're going to be the grinders. We're going to be the fail. We're going to be having the even 40% win rates on champions. But we're going to, over time, you will get higher than making a new account and then trying to get back, climb past your elo. Because I've seen it so many times.
Yep.
They never get higher.
Who has actually got results from doing that? Who has genuinely become a better player?
Yeah, I'd say I can't think of any. No.
Because you know what? You know what the interesting thing is, Nathan? You may actually, for some, you may actually fix your MMR. So you say, let's say this happens. This is possible because I hear this sometimes. So, Curtis, I made a new account and look at me now. I actually climbed above my rank. You know what they've done? There's two things that's been happening there.
Okay.
One, so you've actually had to improve a lot to get to your current rank. Now you've improved. You're actually pretty good. Say you've got to gold 1 and now you're playing at a gold 1 level. And in order to get to platinum 4, it's going to take a lot of time. But let's just say because it took you so long to get to gold 1, like maybe your MMR is a little screwed and you're only getting like 15 a win or whatever it is. Okay. If you were to make a new account and then, get it all the way up to gold 1, yes, you're right. Your MMR probably will be better and you might like get to platinum 4 a little bit earlier. But in terms of pure learning, you're actually wasting a lot of time.
Yeah.
You're going to get to platinum 4 eventually on your other account. And I guarantee you, even if you get to platinum 4 on that other account, you're going to screw your MMR on that account eventually anyway, because you're just going to be stuck at platinum 4.
Yeah, you will eventually go back down to platinum 4.
Yeah, you're just going to be stuck. So like, it really doesn't matter. Like, if you want like a very short-term result, go for it. You can do that if you really want to. But the MMR doesn't mean shit.
No.
It really doesn't. If you're getting 10 a win, you're getting 50. I literally don't even look at my LP gains, honestly. I don't give a shit.
No.
Literally don't
It's so
care.
healthy to do that. That's actually so healthy to not look at your LP gains.
Like, I don't care. I mean, if I get a plus 22, I get a plus 16, I get a plus 12, it doesn't give a shit.
You know what? The emphasis in this preseason about this whole not having LP gains just shows how much people focus on LP gains. Have you noticed that everyone's talking? That's an excuse why people don't play in preseason at the moment, because apparently the LP gains are screwed.
Yeah, it's so pathetic.
The fact that is a focus means that there's no way that's changing when the season starts. They're going to be like, because that's when they say that their accounts are screwed.
It just really is just unnecessary.
So
yeah, no smurfing.
What I want to see, and this is for myself as well, like I want to see your account with a lot of ranked games with a 49, 50, 51% win rate. That means that you're actually...
The only situation in which you should be smurfing is if you're genuinely learning a champion.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
So I'm actually going to have a thing probably in my next coaching client.
Yeah.
If you smurf on other accounts, then you're just not allowed in my program.
Yeah.
Like, if I catch you with another account that you're playing ranked with your main champions, just get lost.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
maybe
interested in
right.
helping you.
Well, what
you.
I do with my coaching clients is I'm going to be doing like a weekly checkup on, and like I'm only going to have their main account, and like they might have secondary accounts, and they say, where's our games? Like, oh, Nathan, me playing on another account? Well, it's like, I'm going to have to call you out there,
Yeah, well,
We're
maybe
gonna
I
be
do that.
playing on
Maybe I do that with mine. Like, have a strike. You have like two, like you get one life. And if I catch you playing ranked on the second account and you just one life time,
I'll for
remove you
example,
from the
I
program.
won't review a game on your Smurf. It's only on your.
Right, I like that.
Yeah,
That's a
so
really
you
cool
just
one.
You just don't get the service.
Really like that.
So, failing, we're going to fail a lot. We're going to have a dirty account with dirty win rates, but it's going to be great. We're going to be excited here. This is going to be awesome. We're reviewing games. We're going to focus games. Okay, so you are going to lose. You're going to go on big win streaks, and you're going to go on big loss streaks. Okay, that's inevitable.
Yep.
That you cannot avoid that.
Yep.
Ever, no matter how good of a player you are, if you're playing at your elo, right?
Yep.
So we're not going to focus on the loss streak. So you have to, if you're on the loss streak, you have to know when to stop playing.
That's a big thing.
But if you've got the good schedule, I guess that
you
denies
shouldn't
it.
be playing more than
you can't
3 or
be
4
playing.
games anyway.
So you have a good
worst
schedule.
case scenario, you lose 4 games in a row. That's an absolute worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, that's pretty bloody rare.
So let's say people that don't follow advice and play, they're still going to be people that play 10, 12 games a day, right? When do you stop?
I mean, you just shouldn't have... Because, again, we know, Nathan, it requires so much mental... I mean, you do it.
I do it.
You tell me then.
Yeah. Well, because
what goes on?
Because for me, what goes on, I keep going back to, what I said earlier in the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm a ex-challenger player. I should be challenging now. I don't need to review.
So that's like just
I don't need to worry about a good schedule.
mental discipline. You just
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just crazy to me.
But I know it's bad.
So I don't think because I don't trust that people can rely on their discipline.
No.
So that's why I say that's why
The schedule forces you.
schedule forces. It's
Yeah.
like a hack
Yeah.
to prevent you from like shooting yourself in the foot.
It is, literally.
And that's what it is. So and that's it. That's okay. Look, I'm not even gonna give advice for someone who
Okay, let's
has
not
to
give
rely
advice.
on
Yeah.
like controlling their emotions. Like
Yeah.
no, you just play your 3-4 games and that's it.
Yeah. In that block, and then
In
you
that
have a
block.
break, and then you come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next one here is dodging.
Okay. Yeah, this is an interesting one.
Only dodge. This is my advice. Only dodge if you have like a pretty gut feeling that the lobby's pretty bad. Like people are abusing each other already.
Yeah.
There's some pretty troll picks.
Troll shit.
But I don't want you to be dodging based on like win rates, comp.
Like if the comp's not like
Yeah,
comp is interesting because it just depends. Because like, dude, I see some insane conversations in my Discord about
really,
like should
that
I
comp?
dodge this? And it's like, what do you mean the comp's fine?
I mean, there is a lot of games that I sometimes review and say, okay, dodging's just a bad habit because, okay, play that game, lose that game, that's still fine. It's actually still fine to lose that game. That you just understand that this game was very difficult. Because like I do Nunu reviews, right? And
Yeah.
if you're playing Nunu into like Set or Darius top, you're against like a Lilia jungle or Kindred jungle.
Yeah.
You're against like a Nivea mid or Lux that can just cancel
can't
you
win.
You can't. You know what I mean? There is an extent to
I mean,
it.
you
you
can
know?
win. It's just really difficult.
It's very difficult.
But it's like, why not just dodge that then?
Yeah. Well, my argument is that if you start doing that, then you're going to try and pick poke holes. It's
Yeah.
like maybe it's like only two. It's like it's a set.
Because
You know what I mean?
we it's like this. It's like when people say don't smoke weed. A lot of the time, it's because they're worried that the weed will turn into like
It's like a gateway drug.
well, like MDMA. Then
Yeah.
MDMA will turn into like cocaine, and then cocaine turns into
Mm-hmm.
ketamine, and then heroin, whatever. That's what it's like. It's kind of like if you dodge this game.
It's a gateway for an
I
excuse.
personally think it's fine, but I'm worried about what this will
Yeah,
mean.
me too.
Because
That's
it's
what
the
I'm
mentality
thinking.
behind your
Yeah,
dodging is
yeah.
very iffy. I'm very
It's
scared.
about LP at that point, not
Yeah.
really improvement. It's like, okay, challenge yourself in that game,
I mean, but for me, I do dodge really
I mean,
shitty
in
games.
high elo, you need to.
do.
There is a
Because I think dodging is less and less important the lower you get.
That's right,
Because
correct.
no one knows how to play their champions
No,
or counters
no,
anyway.
no.
Like that's why, dude, if you play like a champ, you play Echo, right? The chances you're gonna verse a Kassadin main that knows how to actively counter your champion is pretty bloody slim.
That's
If
right.
you have a lot of champion mastery, it's better to play the game. I would rather verse someone who doesn't even know how to play the champ, but just played to counter pick. But I would say that like that game you were talking about with Nunu, I think that's worth dodging.
Yeah.
But if there's only one of those champions or like two, it's fine. I
Yeah,
think
it's
you just
fine.
deal with
Yeah,
it.
that's right. Yeah.
I also think that dodging troll, like active people like trolling and stuff that like, picking Heimerdinger with cleanse and ghost or, obviously, or like people like abusing each other hardcore and say, I'm going to run it down. Obviously things like that. I would also say that dodging, if you're off-rolled is, I'm from me, I dodge if I get top, jungle, AD carry. I dodge. I only play mid support.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I only play secondary role or my main role. Off role is not secondary.
So as a jungler, what I will be doing is I'll queue jungle mid because that's the highest percent of me getting jungle. If I dodge that one, then the next game I'll have to do jungle support, and then I'll just have to play
Interesting.
support. That's what I will be doing.
Interesting. I never thought of it like that. Maybe I should do something similar because I do sometimes mid top and then do mid support. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. But I found in like Master Plus games, a lot of people queue support. So if I do support secondary, I just get mid. But I don't mind playing support, so
Yeah.
it's not the end of the world. But dude, dodging. So I think that's enough about dodging. By the way, how would you have what is the correct mentality with dodging? What is it if you were to articulate it? It's like what would you say personally? Like, what's a neat way of saying it?
That's a good question.
I think
Dodge. It's more like you don't want to waste your time in games. But again, you could just use that as a cop out so many times. But essentially,
thing.
it's like not. You're dodging not because you care about the LP. It's more like, okay, I'm just gonna waste my time, and this game's just gonna.
It has to come from a space of champion mastery.
Yeah.
It's like I know my champion so well that I know how this game is going to play out with or how this game's going to interact with my champion. It's like that's the way I kind of view it in a way. Anyway, take that as you will. You kind of see where we're coming from with that one.
That's all really I had here.
Really?
Guys.
I think there's more, surely.
I have here learning how to learn. We've sort of covered that, I guess. I had focus on mechanics. This is interesting, actually. Someone asked me about mechanics in my Discord. My response was, you don't really need to worry about mechanics. Mechanics will come with time, but it doesn't really make sense.
I don't think it does always.
Because it's like, well, the higher elo, because, okay, if I think about it like when I was first like climbing, right? I mean, I guess maybe this is just a jungle thing, but I was just like focusing on being strong and not taking bad fights. So I never really had mechanical problems, right? And then the higher elo I went, I started having to get into fights a bit more. And it's like, okay, now I'm taking fights and I instantly skip a lot because I climb so high elo. I'm instantly versing people pushing their limits at high elo against me. So I learned quickly those mechanics.
Okay.
Because the way that I view, if you're just stuck in silver, you're going to be playing people with silver mechanics.
No, but Nathan, you were able to do that because the game was very simplistic.
Yeah.
Think about your champion. Like, you didn't have many options of things to do. It's like, I have to do this, so I got to find a way and use my mechanics to get out of the situation. Because your champion was just shit, right? You played Udia.
Yeah.
But compare that with now. This is my problem if you don't focus on mechanics. And we'll get specific what even focusing on mechanics means, but let's just say there's a laning phase and, you take a bad trade. There are so many things you could contribute that bad trade to. You could say, my positioning in the lane itself was poor. I didn't react in time I wasn't thinking about that person going to walk up. I didn't assess their cooldowns. I was thinking about jungle tracking. I mean, there's just so many things outside of just raw clicking that you can contribute that mistake to. Okay? So my problem is, Nathan, if you don't understand the importance or the significance or what it actually does to have good micro, then you're not going to improve at it.
Yeah, you got to focus
you got to know, okay, you don't have to focus on it if you know the importance of it. But generally that goes hand in hand. If you know the importance of micro, you're going to want to focus on it in a way. So I think that when I did my how to improve your micro video, right? One of the things I spoke about is I showed examples of good micro to show you why and what it did.
Okay, so this is the question. So this is actually from Beerus, by the way.
Okay.
So he asked, what are ways to improve your APM? That was the question. Okay, that I've used. And then someone said just spamming like F keys and stuff like that. And then someone said don't increase your APM. Increase purpose of your APM. Pressing random keys doesn't help with anything. And then I said I agreed with that. So I said specifically, start with focusing on how you are clicking and why, especially when you review a skirmish from your perspective. Every click needs to count. I always use the example of Shern. He has very slow APM compared to most professional players, but his intention with clicks movements is what makes the difference. Every click must have intention. For example, why are you spacing here? Are you clicking to dodge a skill shot, or you're setting yourself up in a favorable position in the fight? That was the way I answered that question.
Yeah, I like where you're coming from. I think that if you think about, okay, let's get very specific here again. I'm thinking of a situation, let's just use jungle because we're talking about jungle. Let's say there's a skirmish and you're playing... What are your champions? Like Hecarim? Let's talk about Hecarim here.
Okay.
And let's just say you're versing a Zoe. Okay? Now, if you have pretty poor micro, it's going to be very difficult to dodge that bubble. Or even Syndra E. It's going to be quite difficult to dodge that orb.
Yeah.
So what helps with micro sometimes is knowing why you are trying to click closer to your character or why you have to have high APM. High APM, for the sake of having high APM, isn't really doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, because I mean, people will like refer to sometimes when they watch streamers and they just spammy F keys everywhere. And it looks like StarCraft players.
Yeah, a lot of that shit doesn't do anything.
Yeah. The argument there is that what it does is
keeps
you warmed up, and you're really focused as well, which I think is an aspect of it.
Yeah, I'll say there's an aspect of it, but in my experience, out of all the pro players I've watched, and the best players I've watched,
Yeah.
like specifically in my experience coaching,
Yeah.
even if you watch Knight doesn't do that. Faker does.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Faker does. Maybe that's what. But Knight doesn't. I mean, Knight has really good micro, but he doesn't spam his camera at all. He actually barely looks at all.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
But he just has very accurate fast clicks that all have intention. Now, again, what I was saying before was that you have to connect the micro to an outcome. Okay, so having really close clicks to your character, if you're like clearing a campus heck room, is probably not going to be that set. It's just like, why? It's just like, okay, I'm not getting anything. But if you're heading into a skirmish and like you're trying to dodge a Syndra E or a Zoe bubble and you have very poor clicking, then it's like you can actively see why. And then you can start to think, oh, all right, this is a situation where I actually do really need to click with intention and use the threat or the ability as a sign to like connect with having good micro in a way. So what I'm trying to do here is don't have good. You got to connect it with an outcome. Like, why do you want better clicking?
Okay, so it's more like
because as a jungler, I find it very difficult.
Yeah.
For mid lane, I think it's easy because you can actively see if you're playing.
It's like I can trade better and I can be helpful in lane.
If you don't have good clicking with Orianna, you simply are not. You can't use the kit because the kit is a long range, low cooldown poke ability, and if you're overstepping and allowing them to get into your circle, you just lose the trade. It's so simple. It's just a very short, sharp feedback cycle. For jungle, it's very difficult because you don't have that. You don't have that feedback cycle. It's like one skirmish every what?
That's
5
right.
minutes.
Yeah, it's a lot less.
So I think with jungle, you might even have to do the thing have to do that high APM thing. You might even have to do what I said on my video. There's those exercises, but just like doing the donuts, like
just clicking really close to your character.
just have a focus on it. Literally, just have a focus
on
it.
Like, just like it's always clicking. That's it.
Yeah,
like
how are your clicks? Like just click a lot. You just have to click a lot sometimes.
But that's not panning your camera. That's just clicking your character control.
I don't even think... I wouldn't even start with panning cameras as micro. No. I would actually start with clicking first.
Yeah, clicking first. Like your character movement.
Yeah, your character movement.
That's going to allow you to dodge skill shots.
Because I don't even... to be honest with you, I don't even count F keys in APM. Personally.
Interesting, yeah.
Like when I think of great APM, yes, that technically is an action and it's counted in the minute, but... Like, when I think of like amazing APM, I think of like the players that just click very beautifully.
Yeah, beautiful clicks. That's
next
right.
to their character.
Yeah.
There's a video of a top laner in Korea named Hunty and One, I think. And it's just beautiful clicking. It's just absolutely beautiful clicking. And to be honest with you, it's not even that important to have beautiful clicking because I look at like Mango Fish, the Fizz player. He doesn't actually have that good quality clicks. Some of the players that reach Halo, but you got to have a standard. There's like a level. You got to get to a level. Doesn't have to be amazing though, but you got to get to a level. And actually, one thing that's maybe a bit weird, and I haven't really said this before, but I think you can have good micro in certain instances. Like when I'm playing Victor, right? Or when I watched Mango Fish play Fizz, he didn't click close to his character all the time, do his spam clicks all the time. He did when he needed to, when he tried to close the gap, or when he was trying to tether a specific ability. But then he would relax. He would do he would do it in bursts.
Short bursts, yeah, that's actually a good point.
So you don't need to have perfect APM 24/7.
Yeah.
Do it in bursts. That's what I was kind of saying. If you go into a skirmish, maybe you need to switch it on. It's like a button. It's like in a car. It's like NOS, Nitro, or whatever. I'm gonna press that button when I'm in a skirmish, and then after I gotta let it regenerate.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna. It's just exhausting. You're not gonna be able to do it for an entire game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something to think about. I haven't really said that, but like that's what I saw in the VOD, and that's what I do. Oh shit! Hopefully, I didn't.
It's right. Curtis is looking good. Is these the little things going back up? Yeah, we're good. Yeah, you talking yours?
Hello.
All right.
La 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 la. And that's what I do with Victor. I don't have perfect micro all the time, but when my E is up and I'm trying to do the fadeaway E, I have to click much closer to my character. So, I don't know. Take that as you will. I don't know what the hell you can do with that, but...
It's food for thought,
Food
Curtis.
for thought. And just thinking, I mean, I was trying to think now, things I want to tell people heading into...
The ultimate... Remember, this is the ultimate Season 11 guide. What have we missed?
I mean...
People have to watch this multiple times throughout the season. When people are off track, how do they get back on track?
Dude, again, the reoccurring problem is just champion pools.
Champion pools. Oh.
Like...
People have an
if I had a
existential
penny
crisis.
for every question about champion pool, I'd be a wealthy man.
You'd be a billionaire.
I'd be a billionaire. Because at the end of the day, look,
Yeah.
it really is not... I mean, it is important. Like, it is important to have a decent champion pool. But what is more important is having a small champion pool and playing champions you love.
Yeah.
Look...
So then you can master them.
Yes.
And then you can actually learn the game once you master
Yes.
them, because then you don't have to focus on the basics of the champion,
I
how to play
mean,
in skirmishes.
the faster you can get it out of the way, the better.
Yeah.
And the less you actually shift around your champion pool, the better. That's just a rule. Just have that in your head. Just know that every time you're thinking about your champion pool, wanting to change it, think about that as like going into the pit stop in a race. If you don't need to go to a pit stop, you're just losing the race. People are just going to overlap you. You should only go if you really need to do it. That's the way I view it. Like your champ got nerfed to the ground.
I like that. Yeah.
You know, or like the meta just doesn't suit it at all.
I mean,
or like,
champions, Curtis, they're not going to get nerfed. Like, at the end of the day, it's unless the champion gets
it's not going
a
to work.
rework. Like, their kits. Like
To us, meta really doesn't even matter.
no, it doesn't.
We
until,
need to talk about this.
until high diamond.
Meta does not matter until like Diamond Plus.
Yeah, Diamond Plus. Yeah, agreed.
It really doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I'm actually thinking of stopping to do patch note rundowns.
I stopped that ages ago, dude. I think it's
Because
such
I
a
think
bad
it's kind of
message.
toxic. It sends a bad message. Because none of these players that
This is OP. This is bad. This is OP. This is bad.
It's important to like know how champions work and what they do, but the numbers don't matter.
No.
At all.
No.
Because no one plays a champion optimally anywhere below.
It's the last of your issues, man. You know?
And again, and this is another kind of roast here that I gotta do it, is that like
Curtis is roasting.
you gotta like don't worry about the small like okay, this is gonna sound really confusing, I think.
Okay.
But sometimes I find myself simultaneously highlighting the importance of small details, and then certain other small details are just not important whatsoever. So for example, a small detail that is important is like why you miss a CS. So there's multiple reasons as to why you can miss a CS. You can miss a CS because you're not actually layering the minion's HP. You can miss a CS because you are not taking into account how many minions are attacking it. You can miss a CS because you're not thinking it's a caster versus a melee, so it's way squishier. You can miss a CS because you let the wave get too big and now it's out of control. You can miss a CS because you're not making one obviously lower. Like there's so many ways you can miss a CS. Now these small details are important to think about because generally this is like a trend, and this is something that like is going wrong with your laning. It's something that's very specific and very actionable and very important to understand. Or like why you didn't, or like why you lost a trade. Usually is a core reason. Now a small bit detail that doesn't actually matter, and I find a lot of people get so obsessed about it, is like, you know, what happens in a team fight or like in a skirmish. Like, oh yeah, I should have passed that way, or like I should have used my skill shot this way, or you know, I should have thrown it out earlier. I should have used flash here, or like, you know, all these like skirmishing, team fight oriented, very small details.
Well, it sounds like you're separating that into early game and mid game now, aren't you?
Yeah, but even these early game skirmishes, sometimes there's early river skirmishes.
Okay, yeah.
Like
they're important, man.
they're important, but there's a difference between why you use an ability like Zoe Bubble. Like, yes, that's important to look at, like why the way you use that Zoe Bubble. But like in situations where it's like, oh yeah, I should have followed with flash, or I should have flashed that skill shot, or I should have like, you know, things like that are just too minute until you're diamond. Skirmishing is something that you just shouldn't really focus on, you know? Skirmishing in general. Would you agree with that? I mean, it's maybe different for jungle, but like,
I mean, jungle
is kind of skirmishing, isn't it?
that's your big moment to shine.
No, but like, what is that gonna... I don't understand. What are you... like getting out of that?
It's more-
'Cause it's just instincts anyway.
No, but it's more like, okay, for example, it's like, this is the thought process around Hecarim ult in this skirmish.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's really good.
it's like, and the way you use your E, because I always say the Hecarim, the good Hecarim and a bad Hecarim is purely defined with the way they use their E and their R.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, we don't want to be using our E right now because we want to be sort of just hovering and waiting for them to misposition. We want to be a secondary engage in this fight. So
I
it's
like
more like
that.
general philosophy.
Well, that's
how
what
to
I call
fight.
like ability identities.
Yeah.
And I'd say it's like with Echo, the best Echo is you can see the way they use the E and the W. It's very important. But that's different because that's really good because that's replicable.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
try and
something-
make it always replicable.
That's
It has to be
replicable.
Yeah.
But I'm worried about.
Oh yeah, the tiny
you know?
deals is like movement path. Yeah, that's all bullshit.
It's just
yeah.
like you
That-
get-
you're gonna have
it's
to
not
learn from
replicable. It's gonna be
experience.
so different every single
Yeah.
time. There's no point of even looking at it.
I mean, I think
just have a
you-
glance, but like
I think you can look at it, but I mean, if me coaching someone, I'd never go into that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Unless they're doing it just the same thing over and over again, it's like, okay, there's a problem. now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, that's something food for thought. It may be a little bit confusing, but that's just something I see because sometimes I jump into my Discord and I see people reviewing a game and they're talking about like a VOD or something, and then like I see, like I just listen in and like I hear things like, oh yeah, I should have like got an extra auto here, or like I shouldn't have flashed it, or I should have actually like flashed here first, or like.
Yeah, it's not replicable.
I mean, an extra auto is actually pretty important, but like it's more like the mid game, late game skirmishing and team fights. Like,
oh yeah, dude, there's so much they'll have to
There's
work on
so
before then.
much
Like, don't
stuff.
get into that.
You
yet,
know?
You know.
As well. Anything else thinking at the top of my head here?
Well, our battery's about to die, Curtis.
Oh
so
shit! All right.
You can think about it in the time that I change the battery, or maybe we just go into questions right now.
Well, you want to change the battery then go into questions?
We can do whatever you want, Curtis.
Well, I don't know how long the battery's going to last, dude.
We got another whole battery for another 90 minutes. I'm just saying I have to change it right now because it's about to die.
Okay.
We'll change it. We'll talk about
yeah,
it whilst
alright.
I'm changing it.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so we're back. So we got another topic.
Yeah, last thing,
Recovery.
recovery.
So you know how I said before that you're going to go on big loss streaks and big win streaks?
Yep.
You will lose confidence at some point this year.
and we
through
know
ranks.
league's a confidence game.
And confidence is very important. You've been beaten down and you've climbed back up. I've been beaten down multiple times last
because
year.
and again, they talk
I
about the
guess
danger zone.
that
dude.
ties into Champ War. Yeah, the danger zone. You talk
Dude,
about
that's the scariest thing about the danger zone. In order to get you have to lose to get better, but it is very difficult to not lose confidence when you lose.
That's right. It is hard.
So your condom's falling off again.
Oh, my bad.
That's the thing. It's like, how do you recover? So it's less about if you're going to lose confidence. You are going to lose confidence. That's inevitable.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen at some point during your season.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's at the
Multiple
beginning, mid,
points.
whatever. It's going to happen multiple times.
It could last for months, but this is where
No,
recovery
that's what we
comes
got
into.
to we got to minimize
Yeah.
this because
Yeah.
losing
Bouncing
games
back.
because of low confidence is some of the biggest waste of time.
Yeah.
And it's actually just miserable.
Yeah.
So okay, let's actually just talk about it in our experiences first.
Yeah.
You want to start?
So I did a big recovery, I would say in the preseason, but also the beforehand. Do you know how I said I just did that push for the Master Tier?
Yeah.
And I got Master Tier 0 LP.
Yeah.
Because I was in Diamond the whole season, I hit Master, right?
Yeah.
What I did was I took like a 2-week break.
Interesting.
That was my recovery.
Come back with a fresh mindset.
Very fresh mindset. Just went back to the details, the basic fundamentals. And I didn't care about LP. I didn't care about anything like that. Just like, okay, did I track him here? Did I clear my camps very quickly here? Was this a good gank? Was this a bad gank? Just getting down
really
to the
simple.
basics.
Super simple stuff.
Super simple stuff. And then I slowly built on advanced stuff after that. Once I started building the confidence, because once you have the basics down, everything else, it's just so much easier.
So I don't think you would have been able to do that without the 2-week break.
Yeah, probably
There's
not.
no way you're just going to all right, got to focus on fundamentals. Here we go.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
No, I needed to get out of my head that those huge rut that I was in, because I had like a champ pool crisis and everything like that, a huge identity crisis. And then I realized, okay, I'm just going to go back to my strengths, new Hecarim and Eve, all in on mastery. I'm going to play games. And this is the thing with dodging. I didn't dodge a lot of games that I would have potentially... No, I wouldn't have dodged them, but like my mindset going to those games was the game was difficult. Versus just understanding all I'm going to do is utilize my champion as effectively as possible against these champions. Instead of saying this is hard. throw up hands.
Yeah.
So just understanding, just always, because I knew they were going to throw, and they did throw, you know,
Yep.
multiple times, or like they made
Yep.
mistakes that I could capitalize on because I'm
Right.
sitting in diamond. So just understanding that people are going to fuck up and just capitalize people's mistakes, and when, because what I would have a really big issue if I was to die like once or twice, then in my head it's not a perfect game anymore. So I just like stopped trying. So what I needed to do was I just kept trying every day. I'll be like 0-3 in my early game. What's the next best decision? What's the next best decision? Just bringing it back to all League of Legends is a really decision making based game. That's all it is. I'm just making the best decisions. So bringing it back to that.
Right.
That was the way I recovered very quickly. Just like screw everything else. Screw what everyone's telling me. Screw the chat. Screw LP gains. Screw my MMR. Screw my win rate. Fundamentals. Decision making. Clean, beautiful gameplay.
Right. So break was the key to success for you. That was where it all started.
Yeah.
You need
Well,
that
break and then the mindset shift,
then the
which
mindset
allowed
shift.
me to give the mindset shift, but break was number one. What about you, Kurt? So
Mine wasn't really a break. Mine was like just pure champion mastery. Like mine was just like going back to my best, most comfortable champion. And
Well,
just,
also in that video, remember you said, didn't you have a video about bouncing back? When, you know how when I asked you that question, like what happened here?
yeah, you asked me
Get into
like
the details.
Yeah, you asked me because I always was like finding reasons as to why. I was fine. I was like, I had just a very toxic mentality. I think I was just in my head as well. I was like you. I was just so in my head, and like you just came in and you said
We
something.
reviewed like a thing. It's like, well, okay. It's like, why are you compensating for your teammate here? I remember the specific things. It made sense. It's like, don't go for this.
Yeah, you made me.
You lost the game from it.
Because you gave me like I was just simple questions, and it's got me thinking.
Well, that's what I just said. That's how I did it. Like, you go back to the basics, fundamentals.
Like, why did I die
decision-making.
here? Like, there was fundamental level. Why did I die here?
Yeah.
And I just realized what trends in my gameplay. But it was the biggest thing I would say where it all started though is that I just stuck to a champion, like my core two champions, just for at least temporarily. Just get my feet off the ground to play my most comfortable champions, and learn the game, not learn champions. That was the key to success for me. And don't worry about like counter picking.
Counter pick. Yeah, get that out of your head.
Get that out of your head for a second.
I hate that.
Don't counter pick. Just play your champion.
Yeah.
Don't overcomplicate when to pick champions. Just like if you really want to, because you know this even worked for me in very high elo games, but even in like especially for like gold, platinum, silver, gold, platinum. You don't need to have a counter pick. You don't need to get like if they counter pick you, they're probably not even going to know how to play the counter pick. If you have a lot of champion mastery, it doesn't matter. That's the thing you got to get through your head. Champion mastery trumps everything. But yeah, for me it was just champion mastery, and like you said, just asking simple questions. So that's what you got to do, and you're not going to be able to do it by yourself a lot of the time. You did it by yourself because you took that break. That was really good.
Yeah.
For me, I don't think I actually would have got out of that slump unless either
I think so.
I mean, I probably would have been in that slump for a lot longer because I didn't take a break like you. I don't think I would have taken a break.
Yeah.
Whereas you just asked me that simple question. So if you take a break or maybe get someone to help review your games or just get a fresh perspective. Get a very fresh perspective.
Yeah, I think that helps a lot. Yeah.
There was something else I wanted to talk about. Oh, it was very important. Very, very important. Shit.
So we're talking about recovery, dodging, plateau, learning how to learn. Anything's ringing a bell, Curtis here.
I think it was about
taking accountability, responsibility, champion pool, champ mastery. I was just throwing every term that we've talked about. It's going on here.
All right, just start whipping up the thing, and it'll probably come to my head.
All right, so let's do BBC Nathan's mailbag. BBC question time.
Oh, so annoying, dude.
That's right.
When somebody's like come at the tip of your tongue and you just forget it.
You'll remember. All right. So this one, our first one here is from John. Hey, Nathan and Curtis, love the podcast. You are two of the only people out there presenting a better way forward for the community rather than just complaining about toxicity. On that subject, my question is about the psychology of players who choose to soft int. I forget where I first heard this, but an explanation that clicked with me once about these players is that their worldview and ego is tied to the fact that when they win, it is because they were the carry. They cannot win any other way.
Oh my God, this was literally what I was going to talk about.
Really?
I was going to talk about the carry mindset.
John.
I was going to talk about the carry mindset.
You were saving us
Yeah,
here.
saved us. Yeah, that was it.
If they fall behind in lane, it is because they didn't get enough jungle pressure or something. The rest of the team can be hard winning, but to win a game with a negative score while coasting along with a strong team will be a huge blow to their ego. Instead, they choose to throw the game by rage pushing a side lane or farming camps, refusing to come to objectives and avoiding team fights. Another explanation could be that they feel powerless to the control of the winning outcome. Powerless to control the winning outcome of the game, so the only power they can exert is from forcing their team to lose, since it is incredibly difficult to win a pseudo 4v5 even if you were very ahead before. Maybe just a coincidence, but the last 4 or 5 times I've seen this happen, it was an ADC who tilted this way. What are your thoughts on the psychology of these players?
This is a very fascinating question. I love this
I think
question.
you've broken it down really well here, John, by the way, by saying that that's what it is.
It's a combination of a lot of things. It is a combination of a
I
lot
would say
of things.
the biggest thing is the control. Like, if they're not winning the game, okay, then they just have to be in control. It's like the control, they win the game, yes, it's on me.
No, but you know why that is the case, where that started, though?
Why is that?
Where that started, Nathan, is that people put an emphasis on... Remember, we remember painful experiences more than our, like, great victories.
That's right.
That's just the way it is, right? So what happens, Nathan, is that because in their mind, everyone else is bad at the game, and
Well, that's what you're told all the time.
Yeah,
Everyone says
exactly.
everyone's bad. Apparently.
Everyone's bad, apparently. And you're the only one that's good on your team and the only one who knows what they're doing for some weird reason. Because that is the case, or at least that's the narrative that they tell themselves. There is no way that the team could even carry anyway, so they don't want to try and still fail. It's easier to give up.
That hurts so much, yeah.
Yeah, because it hurts more, right?
That's
so
right.
like to try and be the nice guy and try and get the win, because they think, what's the point? My team's not going to be able to carry me anyway. Like, since when do they carry me? I have to carry all my games.
Yeah.
'Cause they in the past, and they'll just remember the 0-7 Darius top, or the this or other times where even when they were fed, they still lost. They'll remember all these painful experiences. I would say another element of it as well is I would say it's like they know how snowball-oriented League is, and they're thinking in their mind, like, they think that, like, if the game is played by the book, they can't win. Like, they think that... They forget...
Yeah, that's right, yeah. But
They
it's
forget that
it's
they're
not
not...
going to be played with the book. Unless you're in high challenger, you're not going to get a game closed out very quickly.
Yeah, they think that there's no... Like, no one makes mistakes.
Well, there's like this if scenario. So it's like... Because the thing is, they actually know that, but they're saying, okay, this is pointless to play, because if they were to play it perfectly, I can't win no matter how hard I try.
Yeah.
That's the thought process.
So, and the other one as well is that they genuinely don't have the skill set of losing gracefully.
Yeah, that's
the other one. They genuinely don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So that is why, by the way, junglers especially, I've noticed in my VODs,
really?
they have no idea what to do.
When
like
they're
15
behind.
minutes, just 15 minutes onwards in the game.
They don't. Yeah, no, it's hard.
They don't know what to do. They run around like aimless chickens, and they'll just run in, and that's why they force fights, because they have no idea what else to do.
It's true. Yeah, forces
Junglers
fights
specifically have no clue.
You're right. I'll be an advocate for that. We don't.
All my VODs with lower elo clients,
we don't know what to do past 15.
They don't know what to do. They run around like headless chickens.
Yeah,
if there's no camps,
Yeah.
they shit the bed.
Yeah.
It's like a headless chicken running around, and they just explode somewhere. So what I do as a mid lane, that's why I have to just gravitate to my jungler, because I know they're gonna go in. Because that's the only thing they can do. They can't hover a side lane. They can't reset. They can't just put vision. They have to go in.
They can't just sit in a bush for like 30 seconds and just control an area. They have to be moving somewhere.
Right?
It's true.
So these players, and that extends to other roles, they don't know what to do if they can't fight, or there isn't a camp, or there's no farm. They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So it's a skill. You got to know how to lose gracefully. And I have a video actually on on my channel talking about losing gracefully. It's a skill. You got to learn how to develop that skill. And dude, I played like a few games with Victor like last 2 days on my Discord. Dude, one of the games that was yesterday, I was 1-7. I think it was 0-6.
Yeah.
But I just farmed.
Yeah.
I farmed.
Yeah.
I didn't get
Lost
tilted
gracefully.
whatsoever.
All good.
I didn't even really lose gracefully, but my deaths were some of them were pretty bad, but like I was just genuinely trading my life for farm in a way. But like I wasn't tilted, and I did what I had to do. I grouped when I had to group. I did everything, and we just won the game. Like anyone in my shoes would lose that game. They just wouldn't cooperate. It's like that's just a win. That's just a win, because I just know that the enemy at some point is going to make a mistake. And that's what happened. Eventually, the top lane, that top lane Gragas gave me like a 700 gold
And
shutdown.
this is a Grandmaster
This was
game.
a Grandmaster game. I was Master Tier, sorry. Gave me a 700 gold shutdown. I got my 3 core items and I was strong. I just got there eventually, and then I was just a beast. I would say there's a combination of that. And then on top of that, you know what this is? The other thing with the carry thing is that it's a defense mechanism. Because you're not allowed to
The title,
be bad.
the title of the emails is ego protection.
Yeah, you're spot on. It's an ego protection because the community, the league culture is that you're not allowed to make mistakes.
No.
And if you do make mistakes, like their brain is telling them, I got to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
This is bad for me. I look terrible.
Yeah.
I just want to end this game as soon as possible. So like,
forget about it.
Forget about this experience as fast as possible. That's what it's like. It's a pure ego defense as well.
They'll never review those games.
Oh no, dude. You know what? I did this.
Yeah, me too. That was me as well.
I did this when I was, especially when I was like university. I was like 18, 19.
Yeah.
I was really bad at this. Dude, I'm going to say some shit now that like people would never like expect like Coach Curtis to do. When I was actually toxic, right?
Yeah, we've clarified that on the podcast.
Right? I was toxic when I was like 18.
Very toxic.
I was 17, 18. I was very toxic, right?
Curtis, we're talking 19, 20.
Yeah,
You were
19
in
probably.
Dials?
No, not 21. I was in Dials
Yeah,
at 21.
no, like when you were on the team 19, 20.
Oh, like before, no, we're talking like 2015, right? 2016.
Yeah, 2014, 2015,
Yeah,
2016.
that
You made
period.
my life so difficult.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue on.
Because I had an ego, and dude, it was so bad. I remember this once because there was this one moment that changed. It was like a significant moment, and I always remember it. So, what happened? Oh yes, it was Mog. This is how I met Mog.
Okay.
So this is dude I met in O Solo queue, right? And he was a Singed top lane guy.
And Shyvana.
He plays a lot of Singed as well.
Okay.
I remember this game he was playing Singed. And he died at like 3 minutes. And then I said I either said GG or I said, like I pinged him or I did something like that. I said GG. And then he said, all right, I'm coming down. I'm coming into your lane. And he just went to my lane and he just ran down over and over again for like 15 minutes. Right?
I remember you telling me this story.
And it scarred me.
It scarred you, yeah.
It
did.
scarred me.
Yeah.
And he does that. He says, I teach people a lesson. That was his mentality. His thing was like, I teach people a lesson, right?
Yeah.
And he taught me a lesson because after that, I was really careful about what I said to people because I didn't want to lose like that, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, like it was, for me, it was a huge ego protection. Like all my toxicity, dude. So yeah, you're spot on.
All right, so that's the psychology of those players. All right, so this next one here is from...
Actually, by the way, because we just mentioned it is ego protection, do you think that rather than just saying that's what it is, what do we recommend for these players that feel like that? Because I think I have people in my community like that. Like, because...
So those players, I mean, there's lots of ties in. I think that those players love Smurfy and all sort of stuff. So our advice to those players is you want to embrace the 49, 50, 51% win rate, fail a lot, play a lot of games, play on your main only, and that's it.
I want to go a little bit deeper here. I think what is actually happening here, Nathan, is that they are connecting their league results with them as a person.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not Coach Curtis, it's Curtis Morgan. You know? It's Curtis Morgan who is, I'm a bad person for losing this game.
Yeah.
I am bad. Curtis's identity as a person is a bad gamer or I'm just bad. I'm shit at doing this.
Will says he's not human. That's what he says.
But the language.
Yeah.
So my advice, and just for anyone, you're not your rank. Your rank doesn't dictate your self-worth as a person. And you'll notice you're this type of person if you start saying this stuff. I am not human. I am bad. It's not I am bad. It's that decision was poor. I didn't consider this or that play was pretty poor. You got to be specific. It's not me, I, Curtis Morgan.
Because it's identity level.
It's identity level shit. Identity levels, that's what screws your confidence. And you know what? They have to compensate. For beating themselves down, they got to bring themselves up.
And the way they do that is by I feel like they have control, and if they just soft int, Because they didn't do anything that's in their control.
And then on top of that, this is why they put other people down. Because the easiest way to feel better about yourself is to put other people down rather than build people up. That is why the most confident people are the ones that build other people up. Because they're not... You see, if you meet and go on the street, you meet a very confident dude, right? You're like, holy shit, that guy's he's like a beast. He's not like worried about his self-worth or his confidence. He'll actually compliment you a lot because he doesn't
even care what you think about him.
He doesn't give a shit about what you think of him because he's confident in who he is as a person. Right? So what I would recommend, if you do want to build self-confidence through League, that is where it ties into what is your standard? You know, Curtis Moore, what is my standard?
Is this the player you want to be?
Is this, no, not even the player. Yeah, is it the player, but the person I want to be? What sort of person, what sort of player and person do I want to be? How do I want to conduct myself? How do I want to conduct myself in my practice? What do I want to be known as? What sort of habits do I want to instill? Like, bring it back to like, what sort of person you want to be? What sort of player do you want to be? Hold yourself to a standard, and then if you set yourself these goals to hold yourself to a high level, I'm going to do these schedule blocks. I'm going to mute all. I'm not going to be toxic, blah, 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 all these things. You're going to set goals. You're going to smash these goals, and then you develop confidence over time. And until you do this, you're fighting an uphill battle. You're not going to win that way. You might get short-term confidence doing what you're doing, because I see it all the time in the high elo community. This is my problem with the high elo community. The high elo community is filled with fragile ego players that feel good about themselves by putting others down.
Absolutely, yeah.
They're not genuinely confident.
No.
You know why they're not confident? Because they can't even talk to you in person. They look at the fucking ground when they talk to you.
That's a bit of a stereotype, Curtis. But
majority of the ones that
from the
keyboard warriors, the keyboard warriors that abuse you online, they're like...
They'll never do that in person.
They never do that in person, and they're not genuinely confident about who they are as a person.
Yeah.
They put on a persona when they log into the League client. And that's sad. I want to prevent that. I want this person to be equally as confident as he is on the Rift, off the Rift. I want him to be able to look himself in the mirror and be like, you know what? I'm actually pretty happy with the way I conducted myself today. I had exercise. I did my breaks. I set learning objectives. I'm smashing it. I understand the learning process. I'm getting.
I might not have won all my games, but I'm on the journey. I'm happy with the journey.
That's some powerful shit, dude. And it's sad because this is like what is happening, like at scale, and no one's talking about it. The streamers, the content creators, no one talks about this. Everyone feeds this bullshit narrative.
It's encouraged.
It's encouraged. Dude, you just
because it's cool. It's like
you look
funny.
at Midbeast stream, the most popular streamers. They talk like this. They be like this. You know, it's so sad. We're gonna raise a generation of gamers that have no self-confidence.
No.
Such a shame. Really is.
What's our responsibility, Curtis? This is what we're doing this podcast for. It's going to take us maybe 18 years, Curtis, but I'm confident. I'm optimistic we'll get there, all right? All right, so our next question here is from Patrick. This email is titled Adult with Limited Time, How to Best Practice. And I think this ties really well into
what we said.
The schedule, in our little schedule section. What's up, guys? I'm a 35-year-old technology executive working in New York City with 2 small boys and about a million other things that take up my free time on a daily basis. I started playing League in the evenings during the pandemic and love it. Oh, that's awesome that you love it.
That's so cool.
The experience that we always talk about, it's difficult to love League, but if you can love it, that's good.
Yeah.
I've been playing for about 6 months and would like to take it seriously this upcoming season, which is how I stumbled on your content and podcast. My question is this. I have about 8 to 12 hours a week to play and study League. How should I spend that time to get better? If I have 100 units of time in a given week, how would you allocate those units between playing, rewatching my own matches, watching high elo players, and studying, and anything else I'm missing? Some extra background info on him. He finished last season Silver 2, played bot lane, Jin and Caitlyn, but since preseason started learning jungle, Olaf and Kane. Love the Olaf. Hopefully you watch my guide there, Patrick. It's actually a bit outdated at the moment, but all the concepts still apply. So he's currently Silver 4. So it looks like this is awesome. It sounds like he learnt jungle, went down 2 ranks. Beautiful. Hoping to get Plat 4 in Season 11. Thinking my main problems are my micro using abilities at the right time. Team fighting and skirmishing. Undoing habits picked up from playing only bots for months. And game knowledge. Okay, you just listed everything right there.
I think it's a really good role to play for him. He seems like the type of dude that would be good at jungle. Like,
yeah, I think
like AD carry is not the role you should play. Even like top, top and mid might be a bit tricky. Like if you're a 35-year-old dude learning right now, jungle's the best.
I'd say jungle's the best.
Jungle is a fun role as well. It's a really fun role. So I think you made a great choice there, Patrick. Where do you want to kick this off?
So
I really love the way he talked about that, the 100 units of time.
Yeah, so let's use that little. So basically, his question here is, how should he use his 8 to 12 hours a week? So 8 to 12 hours a week. If it was that's like probably 1 hour and a half a day.
Well, no, let's just say he plays 5 days a week then, because he probably spends the weekend with his kids or something.
5 days a week. So 5. That's about just 2 hours a day.
Around 2 hours a day. That's pretty good.
Let's do that for 5 days. So how would we allocate 100 units in terms of 2 hours a day?
That's a good question. Well,
is it literally just playing? I mean,
do you think just playing? Because I mean, I don't know about jungle. This is where youth is your domain, Nathan. How much of it is theory, and how much of it? Because again, if he doesn't know how to clear his jungle camps, he can spend like 20 minutes, 15 minutes watching a video or one of your videos, and probably increase his skill level by double, couldn't he? Or like his success in his games like twofold.
Okay, well, again, he hasn't really told us whether he's going to commit to jungle or thing. But okay, if I was to recommend you were going to use 100 units learning jungle, I would say you're going to have to watch high elo plays, but only the early game. Only the first 5 minutes.
So how does he get a VOD? Let's literally walk this through for him.
Okay,
so he goes onto YouTube. Types in what? Olaf?
Challenger Olaf or Challenger Kane. Or you can go Domi some replay or something like that.
Replays.
You don't even have to have challenges. Just have Diamond 1 players or whatever.
Just type in. But it'd be good to put in like either Challenger, Olaf, solo queue.
Yep.
And there'll be a bunch of replays.
So what you want to do, so watch up until he gets level 6. You're going to look at his clear and the decision making to do his ganks. And that's really all I would want you to focus on for now.
So how long would you recommend him doing that while he's in queue, before queue?
So let's say of the 100, let's just use 2 hours, right? 30 minutes. I want you to spend that time. You can space out whatever, watching high elo plays for the champions that you want to play. If it was for Jhin, Caitlyn, probably the same thing. Probably laning phase and CS.
Just don't play AD carry.
You think
just not playing AD
recommend
carry?
AD carry? Yeah, maybe that's the way to go.
Not playing AD carry.
Oh, so we're committed to jungle.
Let's just say he's committing to jungle. We recommend him to commit to jungle. I think it's a great role.
Yeah, and Olaf and Kane are great champs, I think, as well at the moment. They're really good. If solo queue. So 30 minutes watching early games up until level 6 for Olaf and Kane.
In a row or split up? Because 30 minutes straight of VODs is actually kind of hard to do.
Yeah, split up in between your games. And then,
so 10 minutes in between like each game maybe.
Yep, and you can play 3 games in 2 hours.
Yeah, I think you probably could play. It depends.
Just a little bit over.
Sometimes the games are longer though.
Okay, that's fine. So try and do 3 games, and then in between queues, watch the clears, and then maybe 1 day a week you need to go and practice the clear for 30 minutes in a custom game in practice.
To be honest, Nathan, wouldn't it be good for him to do a warm up, doing those clears?
Yeah, maybe 10 minutes to a warm up of clears.
You go into practice tool, you can actually just refresh the jungle camps or something, can't you? Or do you have to restart the whole thing? Or you just restart the game?
Yeah, you can. No, yeah, you can.
It's like a button.
You can reset everything.
Yeah, you can reset everything. So start practicing your jungle clears in practice. Or maybe that you can do that for like 5-10 minutes to practice that before you play your solo queue games.
I find with lower like silver, so if you're just learning jungle, you just don't know how to clear your camps properly, which limits so many options for you. Because I like, let's say if I was to play in your games, I'll be about a minute ahead of you just because I can clear my camps, which is just AI.
And if you get, because again, this kind of, I actually would agree with that, Nathan, because what I say to my silver and gold players is, your goal is to be as strong as possible
just
by
get
15
CS
minutes.
And getting gold. Yeah.
Because in gold and silver, it's just team fights at 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's why it's an A rank.
Okay, I would say the same thing. Be as strong as possible, which is about
That's my goal.
Camps.
You got to be as strong and just farm and be really powerful by 15 minutes.
Efficiently. So I think that's really how you break it up. So
you'd be warm up for 5-10 minutes, doing your practice tool, clearing your camps, getting really good at that.
Queue up,
play a solo queue game with your 2 main champions.
Yep.
Don't review. No review in silver. No
No.
point reviewing in silver.
No.
Then while in queue, continue to watch high-low VODs. Maybe the queue's really short. It doesn't matter just while you're doing it.
Yeah.
Boom into another game.
Yeah.
VOD, boom into another. You might be able to get 3 games in.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Well, it says 12, so we could, he's got about an extra half an hour there. So, I mean, he could push a little bit further, I think. Yeah.
And do you think that one day a week he should because Nathan, at some point he's going to maybe he's actually gets really good at his clear, over the next 3 weeks.
Well, the next thing
what does he do?
Well, then the next thing you'll be doing is then I want you to watch those high elo players, but skip through the early game, and then you're going to only look at the way they play fights and skirmishes. And then you're going to think about ability identity, how Kane's using his ult. I mean, Olaf is really important to hit axes. So you
should
really
probably watch.
should
Should he watch your guide?
Yeah, watch my Olaf guide. Yeah,
Olaf guide.
Yeah,
but skip over the itemization.
Yeah, don't worry about itemization.
And just go straight to the.
Well, right now I'll tell you, Olaf Gore Drinker is busted on Olaf. So it's like Gore Drinker into Sterax.
Yeah.
Okay, just like the build these days.
And once you should actually check in with us again.
Yeah, we'd
like to have you fair because we can point you in the right direction. Hopefully, when you get a little bit higher elo.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a really great use of your time. And if you
because he says here right now he also struggles. I don't know the identities of abilities for 50% of the champions, so he needs to play a lot. That's why.
And that's the thing why you were saying just don't really overcomplicate
Yeah.
it. Playing is great, even
Yeah.
if you played these 3 games a day for 5 days a week. And you just did your early clear, then what you said, maybe you got good with your early clear, then you started looking at skirmishing and team fighting with your champions or just how they play fights. You might do this now, and you might not really go that far. Maybe you go to silver 3, silver 2 over the next 3 months. But you need to put in the work now. It's kind of how would you say? It's kind of like your is it called when you front end the work or something like that? It's like you put in all the work. And then you get the results later.
Got it, yeah. So it's a lot of upfront work.
Yeah, a lot of upfront work.
That you're not going to get anything, and then it's all going to happen.
And then you're going to get results very quickly.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because you got to get this base level knowledge. And it's fine. You're just going to play skirmish and be now I know what Vel'Koz does. Or now I know what Gangplank does. Or now I know what to be careful when I verse an Ahri. You're just going to know more champions and how to approach skirmishes. That just comes with time and games played. That's why League is a very complex game with a lot of variables, and there's just a sheer amount of games you got to play. So if you continue that process and do it like that, I think you'll be popping.
I mean, first 6 months, dude, silver 2, man. That's insane.
That's awesome. That's really, really good.
Yeah.
Really awesome.
All right, so our camera's just died, so I think we're going to wrap up the podcast here.
It's dead.
No, I mean, I could just change it now, but I was just...
Okay.
It's good time in there,
Yeah.
so...
All right,
well, so these episodes are a little bit longer now because
that's fine. We don't do one a week, right?
So yeah.
How long was this?
This would have been about 2.5 hours.
Oh
I think.
shit!
Yeah.
Dude.
So
popping.
We're popping. So
it's a good episode.
Yeah, I think this is good. Everyone, good luck in your season 11.
And we're doing 1 episode a week. Remember.
And we're doing 1 episode a week, and we'll be released every Mondays.
Sounds good.
All right, catch you guys later.